Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Yo, what up? This is Rocky Asuka Romero of Chaos, and you are listening to Keepin It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out in Barrio the Frost. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we'll be reviewing the first 4 nights of the Road to Destruction, previewing Destruction in Beppu and Kagoshima, answering your questions, and covering all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can support our show by subscribing to the Social Suplex Podcast Network on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcasts and columns over at socialsuplex.com. This episode of Keeping It Strong Style is brought to you by Powerslam TV. Powerslam TV is an independent wrestling streaming service with over 5,000 hours of wrestling from companies across the world. Use the promo code SOCIALSUPLEX to get your first month free. Make sure you check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store, prowrestlingtees.com/socialsuplex. That's where you can get your official Keeping It Strong Style t-shirt, as well as all the other t-shirts here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. All right, this week we got the young boy back in the studio.
I'm making my grand entrance, my grand return. The masses have waited.
Yeah, I think everybody missed you last week, man.
Yeah, I got a lot of private messages. They told me that Rich sucked, and it wasn't the same without me. And I was like, I know this. No, actually, I appreciate Rich coming in last minute. If you guys can't tell, my energy level is pretty low. I am definitely under the weather right now. Young boy feeling sick. Yeah, not feeling so hot this week, but we're going to do it anyways. We're going to get this thing popping and, talk about the most exciting time of the year, Road to Destruction.
The tour that everybody's loving right now.
I'm not even online. Are people, feeling the way we're feeling?
No, I honestly, I see, the diehards that are out there, watching,
They're like, my God.
No, they're actually, watching and liking and stuff like that.
No, in a good way. They're like, my God, these LIJ matches are popping.
Yeah. Which is, I found it hilarious. So Maserati on our group in Social Suplex, he was first he thought it was you. He was like, Josh spoiled 2 Young Lions Cup matches for me.
What?
And I was like, well, if it was from the Keeping It Strong Style Twitter account, it was me.
I would never do that. I would never. It's not that I wouldn't spoil something. I would never tweet. I would never tweet anything.
I know. I'm like, Josh was rarely on there. And I was like, it was me. And I was like, I don't think anybody was avoiding Young Lion Cup spoilers.
Maserati was probably pissed. He's like, what the heck? Alex Coughlin won?
But yeah, if you're on Twitter,
justice for Suji.
Yeah, if you're on Twitter, expect to see spoilers out there.
How long did you wait before you tweeted it out?
I mean, I was trying to live tweet, trying to get some content on our Twitter account.
You didn't check with me first. You should have checked with me. I would have told you not to do that.
But Maserati's watching. He's waiting. Can't tweet those results out.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I had something good to say there, but I forgot what it was. This is going to be a rough episode.
So,
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, like, while the diehards here are like really excited about, like, you know, Michael Richards and Yuya Uemura, like, the rest of the world, they're all talking about like Jericho and Bubbly and
a little bit of the bubbly.
we even like, you guys did a really good job last week, but like, you didn't even mention like Jericho won the world title.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, well, technically, I guess it is.
That's New Japan news, man.
Yeah, that is. I didn't think about it, but yeah.
I can't wait till he comes to New Japan to defend the belt.
Yeah,
title versus title. We're gonna
have the AEW World Title on the Wrestle Kingdom show.
It's gonna be great. Can't wait.
So before we jump into talking about Road to Destruction, we're going to talk about we have some awards to give for August, the August Wrestler of the Month and the August Match of the Month.
We know you guys have been waiting, bated breath.
Yeah, desperately waiting to see what the August Wrestler of the Month and Match of the Month would be. So starting off with the Wrestler of the Month, the August Wrestler of the Month, we are awarding to the G1 Climax 29 winner, the Golden Star, Kota Ibushi.
Yeah, man. I mean, this G1 was fantastic, and you even factor in things like World Quest, some of the other shows. August was a packed month, and it's crazy. August actually, this year's flying by. I know we say that all the time, but like the G1 feels like it was a super long time ago for some reason to me.
It does. And, you know, I was looking at the schedule today, and I'm like, all right, well, we're in Destruction right now. Then King of Pro Wrestling's right around the corner in October. And then it's going to be Super Junior Tag League. Then it's going to be World Tag League. And then Wrestle Kingdom will be here.
Yeah, well, you forgot Road to Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh yeah, Road to Tokyo Dome.
Don't forget about Road to Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, that's a great tour. That's going to be a very important tournament. A lot of angles will be shot. It's totally going to change the card for Wrestle Kingdom.
It's going to change the trajectory.
Kota Ibushi's going to defend his contract on one of those Road 2 shows.
The world will never be the same.
Don't miss out, guys, on these Road 2 shows.
But yeah, I mean, there was so many guys in the month of August that hypothetically could have really been Wrestler of the Month. I mean, there's so many guys that were having like career renaissances. You talk about your Lance Archers, talk about your Ishiis. You know, even Mox had a great month. You know, Okada,
right? I mean, there was definitely a strong case for Okada. You know, all his G1 matches, and then also the Suzuki match from Royal Quest seemed to be one of the top matches of that weekend. And
Kenta,
yeah,
with the angle and the different stuff, and him defeating Ishii over in England the other week, like that's definitely a possibility. Obviously, Ospreay's just always a possibility, no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter what he's doing. It's possible that he's the Wrestler of the Month at any given moment.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think after, you know, thinking about the kayfabe, thinking about the quality of match output, and thinking about, you know, the trajectory going forward, like, the most accomplished guy in both of our minds had to be Kota Ibushi.
Right, just from a, you know, match quality standpoint, from a kayfabe standpoint, factoring that he won the G1 Climax.
His first ever.
Yeah, you know, beating, you know, Tanahashi, who he failed to beat in last year's G1.
Man. There's so many matches that I'm going to forget from this year's G1 that were fantastic, and that's like one. Like that match was so good.
Yeah, and then, you know, overcoming an ankle injury or quote-unquote injury. We don't, you know... People are questioning that
was real.
The legitimacy of the ankle.
When you say people, you mean Rich. It's just Rich. It's no one else.
No, I've seen some other people kind of throwing it out there, like, you know.
Just the rich heads. Just the people that follow him online.
That's his followers?
That's his followers, yeah.
I'm trying to think of something.
Something that has, like, with Rich in the name.
Yeah, or the Lada Legion.
Yeah, the Lada Legion. Yeah.
But yeah, so Kota Ibushi,
chain gang,
the Lada Maniacs.
Oh man!
Oh my god!
I don't want to be associated with Rich anymore. Oh. He's out here disrespecting pro wrestlers. Bully Ray don't like him. I'm not trying to fuck with him no more.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so yeah, guys, check out One Nation Radio. They have a nice little recap of Rich's little Twitter war with Bully Ray, if you've missed out on that.
Bro, I know we're spending a lot of time with Rich, but this is hilarious. Rich is always getting into it with pro wrestlers like Phil Baroni. He got into it with, who else did he get into it with? There's someone else. It was another shooter. Was it Josh Burnett? I can't remember.
It might have been.
I know him and Phil Baroni definitely got into it like online. I was like, bro, you're gonna get killed. Now Bully Ray. Although, like, if never mind. I was gonna talk smack just now. And I was like, never mind. I won't say anything.
But yeah, so
just Rich, if you ever get in trouble, we got your back. I'll ankle pick Bully.
He can't hit all of us. Yeah, we better be careful before we get welcomed to backstage to Ring of Honor. But so yeah, Kota Ibushi, the August Wrestler of the Month, and then for the August Match of the Month, it's going to be that G1 Climax 29 Finals with Kota Ibushi versus Switchblade Jay White.
Did you think that was the match of the tournament?
Yeah,
I did too.
Yeah, I had that match 5 stars. I think it was my only second. I only had 2 5-star matches, I think, for the whole tournament, and this was one of them. And
it's one of my only 5-star matches of the whole year. Excuse me. We've recapped it before. It's incredible. It's an incredible contest, and I mean it that really does say something though. Like, you know, winning match of the month in like May or February is a completely different thing in most cases than winning it in like August or July when it comes to New Japan. So it's a big deal. So yeah, Ibushi Jay White definitely in my book for a match of the year contender. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a close race this year.
Yeah, and you know, award season, man. That's coming up soon. We're gonna have to finalize the awards spreadsheet pretty soon and get that out to you, lovely listeners, to vote on. But yeah. This. You know, Kota Ibushi will definitely be a Wrestler of the Year candidate, and this matchup will definitely be a Match of the Year contender.
Ibushi taking all the awards in August.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Golden Star. So now we're going to move on to Road to Destruction. We had 4 Road to shows this past week.
And they were fantastic.
Incredible.
Incredible.
But we're not going to go super in-depth on a lot of these matches. We'll talk about...
You don't want to talk about Rocky Romero, Yoshihashi, and Ishii against Jado, Tangaloa, and Tamatanga?
We'll talk about the results and if any angles really happened there. But a lot of these matches, if you've watched these Road to shows or if you've seen the results, it's pretty much have been a lot of the same matches for the exception of the Young Lions Cup matches. So,
and you know, with that, like, that's something that in the past, it's give and take, I think, with New Japan. Like, we've discussed this in the past where, you know, one of the criticisms about, like, Road to shows, it's like, okay, I wish that they were changing things up a bit. You know what I mean? And that's a valid, like, argument. It's a valid, like, criticism. But at the same time, it's, again, give and take because when you kind of look at what we're going to be getting at the end of the tour with the Destruction shows, they're probably going to be fantastic. And these builds aren't so bad. It's just the repetitive nature of it. But there is no such thing as a perfect, you know, wrestling company. Like, they have their way of doing things. This is kind of a time when guys get sort of a bit of a break in their schedule. And, you know, it is what it is. But the one thing I will say, even though this can be a little monotonous, we're kind of making fun of it, they do give you little trinkets, little nuggets, things that, you know, they reward you for being a loyal fan and follower.
Right. They do, you know, throw some angles in there. There are some promos in there that kind of progress storylines and matches along. And, you know, people will come on Twitter and be like, oh, there's no stories in New Japan. But if you're watching these Road to shows and you're watching these promos that are happening after the shows, you're getting your stories, you're getting advancements in characters and rivalries.
I was trying to explain this to a friend of mine recently. I was telling them, they're like, well, are there stories? And I was like, well, yes. And like, well, all I've seen is people wrestling. And I was like, well, the stories are in the matches. And then they're like, well, when are they going to come out and talk?
Where's the 20-minute opening segment?
I was like, they don't do that.
When's Harold May coming out?
I was like, it's a little different. And they're like, oh, it's like AEW.
It's different. So let's start breaking down these Road to shows. So we had.
I was like, no, AEW is like New Japan. Take it back.
So we had the Road to Destruction on September 4th. This kicked off the Young Lions Cup matches. So the opening match, we had Alex Coughlin making his New Japan debut from the LA Dojo, taking on Yota Tsuji from the New Japan Dojo. This match went 10 minutes and 10 seconds. I thought this was a good kind of Hoss match here between Tsuji and Coughlin. I will say, man, Tsuji's chops were pretty weak in this match. There was a chop exchange toward the beginning of the match, and Tsuji was just sounding off with these light chops, and then Coughlin was coming back with these hard, like, killer chops, and just totally, like, outshining Tsuji there.
Yeah, it's a little surprising. I agree with you. Tsuji has been known to be like the bruiser of the Young Lions class too, and in the past he's like out there murdering people. So I'm wondering, maybe he was told to like ease back a bit. Right, that's a possibility.
Maybe try to get Coughlin over his first match in Japan. Maybe
not even just for this match in particular. Maybe they're just like, "Yo, Tsuji, you're out there literally murking guys."
Like who are you, Walter? Calm down.
Yeah, calm down. This kid don't know how to work.
But yeah, I thought this was a great way to kick the show off here. And Alex Coughlin gets the half crab on Tsuji, cranks it back, and Yota Tsuji submits. So we have.
Do you think that's one thing I've been noticing? Have you been noticing that a lot of the LA Dojo guys are using the half crab specifically?
Yeah, especially during the G1 tour when Fredericks and Connors were picking up wins. They were mainly using the half crab. Sometimes they use the normal Boston crab, but most of the time it's that single leg crab.
They also do, I don't know if you've noticed this, they use a variation of the half crab where it goes across their body as opposed to on the same side. So like, yeah. Like for instance, they're not if they're grabbing, let's think of, well, instead of like the leg being on the same side as the arm, they bring it across their own torso and crank the opposite way. So it's not that that's unheard of, but it's just kind of unique. I'm noticing all the guys do it that way over there. Do you think that's like the LA Dojo like finish? Like the half crab?
I guess so. I mean, that's
what it seems like.
Yeah, but they've been using it a lot. You know, they established it in the G1 undercard. So
storytelling.
I guess Shibata, that's what he's been training those guys, how to rip apart one leg instead of two. If you can destroy one, then you can definitely destroy two, I guess. I don't know.
I've been noticing that, and I'm like, oh, okay, the half crab.
So Coughlin picks up the big win here, kind of a upset in a way.
I thought this was good though. Overall, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like blow away, but I mean, this was a good start to my favorite tournament of the year.
Yeah, and so LA Dojo Young Lions have one on the board there with Coughlin. New Japan Young Lions, Big Fat Zero there. So then we move on to Shooter Shota Umino taking on Clark Connors. And this was a kind of a quick sprint, 7-minute match. But as soon as the bell rang, these guys were, ran at each other, exchanging strikes and chops, going back and forth. A lot of quick action here. But it came down with Connors cutting Umino in half with that spear. We've been seeing him hit that spear in the undercards in the G1, and he's brought the spear back here and just totally, cut Umino in half, and then locks in the Boston Crab, and Shooter taps out. Huge upset here. One of the favorites to win the Young Lion Cup. Shota Umino taps out here to LA Dojo Connors.
I wouldn't expect anything less from the apprentice of a quitter, You got Mox quitting, can't even be bothered to show up for a pay-per-view. Of course his apprentice is going to tap out. These two losers, my God. No, but in all seriousness, I was very surprised to see Shota take the early loss to Clark Connors.
Yeah, I mean, from one point, it does kind of make sense because obviously the two favorites are Umino and Fredericks, and you don't want to give it away that these guys are going to win, so you kind of set them up with the losses. Similar to G1 where some of the favorites are kind of losing in the early hand, had to come back. So I think they are going to tell a story in this tournament with Umino and Fredericks having to kind of fight back.
Do you feel like so far with this Young Lions Cup that there's more of actual narrative surrounding it than the previous one?
I definitely do, especially that one we watched in November of 2017, the 11th Young Lions Cup.
That one just kind of felt more like just like straight sport space. Like there was very, very little real narrative around it or anything, but these guys have, in my opinion, somewhat more defined characters and more defined backgrounds. Right. So there's a little more to like sink your teeth into when it comes to this iteration of the tournament.
Then you also have the whole understory of the the LA dojo versus the New Japan dojo, and then the one representative of the Fale dojo, trying to fight for the
guy.
Yeah, we'll talk about him in a second. But these guys kind of fighting for dojo pride here. So I think that's a backstory. I mean, we've been seeing that kind of war with the LA dojo. And
we have a dojo. I don't know why they didn't invite someone from our dojo. We got a young boy here.
Yeah, we could have had both of us could have represented the Keeping It Strong Style dojo in the tournament. But yeah, it's just that whole rivalry with the dojos and kind of seeing which dojo is better. We saw
I be having better matches than Richards, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I believe it was Suji during the G1 at the very end. He's like, you guys have to come back to Japan. He's like, you want to be real young lions, you got to be here in Japan. So they're back here in Japan, and so far, LA dojo, they got 2 wins here on the first night.
Nice.
So that brings us to the next match. We had an undercard tag with Michael Richards from the Fale Dojo, Carl Fredericks from the LA Dojo, teaming up with Satoshi Kojima to take on Tenzan, who is teaming up with Ren Narita and Yamura from the New Japan Dojo.
This is fun. One thing I just like to see Kojima and Tenzan square off sometimes. A little bit of a nostalgia there.
Right. And like you mentioned while we were watching, this is not something you see a lot often, since they've kind of formed Tenkozi and kind of been a tag team for the last few years. You really don't see them mix it up that much. So that is always very interesting to see them kind of mix it up there, and also get in there with the young lions as well. So the team of Richards, Fredericks, and Kojima get the win after Kojima hit the Koji Cutter and Lariat combo there to pick up the win.
One more for the white guys.
Yeah, so LA Dojo just sweeping the New Japan Dojo on the first night. So then we had Birds of Prey teaming up with Honma and Hanare to take on the Bullet Club team of Chase Owens, Yujiro Takahashi, ELP, and Taiji Ishimori. Obviously, this match is building up to the junior tag title match with Birds of Prey and ELP and Ishimori, as well as the King of Pro Wrestling singles match with Ospreay and ELP for the junior title.
The other thing was building up is just the continuing legacy of Chase Owens being freaking awesome in every match.
Yeah, dude, Chase
is just always awesome.
Yeah, Chase has been looking real good, and the end of this match, it came down to Chase and Hanare, and Chase hit that jewel heist and then a V trigger, got him up for the package pile driver. 1, 2, 3. Chase gets the win. Bullet Club gets the win and defeats Birds of Prey, Hanma, and Hanare.
They'll always beat Birds of Prey for life.
But Birds of Prey, man, they're looking really great. They have a lot of great innovative combo maneuvers for only being a team for such a short time. I mean, they're well flowed, just real great. They got the matching gear. Yeah, everything's looking great with Birds of Prey.
The funny thing about their matching gear is that, I'm pretty positive that Ospreay's always had that gear. So, Eagles had to, actually go out and buy gear that matched him. Ospreay's like, I'm not buying new gear.
Yeah.
He's like, here's my color scheme. Go to my tailor. And yeah, that man Eagles had to go out of pocket for that crap.
So then we had the Chaos team of Rocky Romero, Yoshihashi, and Tomohiro Ishii versus the Bullet Club team of Jado, Tangaloa, and Tama Tonga. And this was a fine match. I mean, you got Jado in there.
I don't know if it was that fine when it ends with that butterfly lock.
That's true. Yeah, Yoshihashi locks in the butterfly lock on Jado for the win for the Chaos. And
yeah, someone had me showing them New Japan recently, and I was like, I showed them some pretty good matches, and they're like, wow, this is incredible. And I was like, yeah, but there's this guy. His name's Yoshihashi, and I'm not going to show you him just yet.
You're not ready for this.
I don't want to disappoint you.
But, so yeah, post-match, we had Ishii and Yoshihashi fighting off GOD and standing tall with the titles, and then this was the angle that led to their upcoming match being turned into a title match this weekend. So officially, Yoshihashi and Ishii will be challenging GOD for those IWGP heavyweight tag titles.
Yeah, I would rather be Goto and Ishii.
Yeah.
That's my tag team. That's the tag team I want. And Yoshihashi, my God. Anyways.
So then we had Hiroshi Tanahashi teaming up with Taguchi and Sho and Yo to take on the Suzuki-gun team of Minoru Suzuki, Kanemaru, Zack Sabre Jr., and Doki. That's right. Doki is back on this tour.
They said he was done. They said he was out. This man continuously perseveres.
He said, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Doki's back. It's great.
Doki's back. Tell a friend.
I did. I like message people. I'm like, yo, Doki's here. They're like, why? We literally, I know we have listeners right now that are like upset that Doki's here. Like they're probably and they probably didn't watch this either. And they're like, thank God I didn't watch this.
Yeah.
But actually, I kind of like Doki a little bit. I don't care. I it's fine.
Yeah. But of course, you had your Suzuki Gun brawling and all over the place. Red Shoes has just been absolutely horrible refereeing these Suzuki Gun matches. These guys have just been completely out of control.
I don't even know why you're bringing that up because that's like been the case for like, what, 5 years?
Yeah, but I know it just seemed really extra on this tour.
I'll tell you, that man's on the take.
So we had the team.
I think the IWGP needs to look into Red Shoes. This corruption goes deep, real deep. I'm telling you.
So we had
Follow the money.
Tanahashi, Taguchi, Sho, and Yo won this matchup with Taguchi cradling up Doki to get the win there.
Makes you wonder if Suzuki-gun made the right choice bringing this man back.
Well, I guess El Desperado still healing up that busted jaw. So
I don't understand how that. Okay, I watched that match with him and Jun Kasai. Mm-hmm. I don't even know when it happened. To be honest, it was a fun match. It was good. It was kind of violent, but like I don't know when he got hurt. I've watched it a few times. I'm like I don't know when this happened, but like I'm ready for Desperado. But Desperado is probably going to be in the finals of the Super Juniors. And he's been sidelined like half the year. It kind of sucks.
I feel like this was going to be a great year for him.
It was. Following
Best of Super Juniors. And, man, he wanted to have one of them outlaw mud show matches and get injured.
Not like – I don't think he was going to be in the finals, but he was going to be in –
He was going to be a player.
Yeah, he was either going to be like in the A block finals or the B – whichever block he was going to be in, the A block or B block finals.
I think it was B block. Was the block Doki was in, I think? Yeah.
It probably would have ended up being him and Will Ospreay that final night instead of Taguchi.
Yeah.
I think anyways.
So then we had LIJ, Tetsuya Naito, Bushi, and Evil taking on Gato, Jay White, and Bad Luck Fale.
And I think that this, obviously it's the headline here, but this thing between Naito and Jay White, this is the overarching storyline of the Destruction Tour, the main thing that's dominating most of the shows in general.
Right. Both these guys kind of playing mind games with each other and taunting each other, smiling at each other, staring into each other's eyes, telling each other that they love each other. It's getting kind of strange between these two.
They have to do something because I'll tell you the truth. I didn't like their match during the G1 very much, and nothing about it really made me want to rewatch it again. I'm actually... they're doing a fine job building it up, so kudos to them for that. But there's still nothing here that makes me be like, yo, Naito and Jay White is going to be fantastic. And keep in mind, that was a super protected match before it happened in the G1.
Right.
They never even interacted. I don't even think in multi-mans before that, so.
Yeah. So at least they're doing something to try and add some heat to that match.
Yeah, and that's what New Japan's great at is, building up matches. They can take a match that maybe you didn't think you wanted to see, and by the time they're done with it, you're hyped for it. So that is one of the strengths of Gato's booking and the character work of these guys, and I think that they're doing a pretty good job here with that.
Yep, so we had Evil getting the win here for Scorpion Deathlock, and that's kind of been another story they've been telling here on these undercards. Evil has been picking up a lot of wins with that Scorpion Deathlock, so they're trying to establish that. He's been using it before, but I think they're really trying to nail home the fact that the Scorpion Deathlock is going to be one of his big finishers moving down the line.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, too. Like, I almost would expect that more from, like, Ishii, because Ishii is, like, a disciple of... Ricky Choshu, and Evil's not. So, but yeah, I guess he's adopting Ricky Choshu's finish. So
yeah. So then our main event of night one, we had Kazuchika Okada teaming up with Hiroki Goto to take on Sonata and Shingo. So
I really like this.
Yeah, they're building up Sonata and Okada, King of Pro Wrestling. They're also building up Shingo and Goto, happening on Destruction Tour. So yeah, this was the best match of the night. Great matchup here. I want to see Shingo and Okada, man. Every time those two get in the ring, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like we need that Shingo Okada singles match. But the interactions with
I'm really excited for Shingo and Goto again.
Yeah, Shingo and Goto again. That's going to be great.
I haven't really been too excited for Goto too many times this year. I was very excited for his match with Jay White during the G1, but after that, not much. But I think Goto and Shingo is my favorite Goto match of the entire G1, and I'm like really excited for them to like lock up again. And obviously Sonata and Okada, feud of the year contender already. Like,
yeah, man.
I think that's Okada's like biggest feud this year.
Right. I would say, in the beginning of the year, it was looking like it was going to be Jay White with losing at the Dome and then the match at MSG. But since then, yeah, things have kind of swung in the other direction with Sonata.
Yeah. Yeah. Then, you know what? Again, congratulations to New Japan, because we've said for so long, like, when is this guy going to step up? When are they going to utilize him? And, every time that people walk out of New Japan and people leave, it just opens up those extra slots, and Sonata has been slotted at a higher level and he's delivering. And I can't sit here and say I'm ecstatic to see Sonata and Okada again, but their matches have been fantastic all year. And this is going to be their fourth match?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, is it third or fourth?
So they wrestled in New Japan Cup.
It's the fourth.
Yeah, New Japan Cup, and then
title match,
New Beginning,
yeah,
and then G1. So yeah, fourth match.
Wow, that's a lot for a year. So this has really dominated a lot of Okada's title reign this year, and but the matches have been fantastic every single time, and I'm excited for it again.
Yeah. So that brings us over to hold on, who won that matchup?
It ended up being GTR countered by Sonata into a skull-in. So Sonata ended up tapping out Goto.
Yeah, so Sonata and Shingo got the win there.
Very good preview match.
So then that brings us to the second night on September 5th. Open up a Young Lions Cup action with Michael Richards from the Fale Dojo taking on Yuya Uemura from the New Japan Dojo. And, man, I wasn't really impressed with Richards. There's a clear, skill gap between Richards and everybody else in this tournament.
Yeah.
And, just wasn't digging his look, wasn't really digging his work. And it's kind of a shame that that Uemura had to tap out to this guy. Because, Uemura has been, great all year. He's improved a lot, especially with that rivalry with Tsuji. And coming out here and just having him put over Richards, I wasn't a fan of that.
Well, Jeremy, actually, the thing is, this is a single block tournament, so we have this thing where, like, sometimes when we're hanging out and someone says something, we'll like to Meltzer explain to them, and we'll stop and we'll be like, well, actually,
yeah,
no, but you bring up a great point, but I would say, in my opinion, honestly, I think it's a little overkill to say it's a shame, because again, it is a single block tournament. I'm sure,
right? And then I know some people have to lose it. It's his first match in Japan. First time us seeing him, I wasn't impressed with him, and
he's the Mikey Nichols of the Alliance.
Yeah, I like Uemura a lot, especially with that amateur background, a lot of the suplexes and the amateur wrestling style that he brings in. And I think he's improved a lot, and I would like to see him do well in this thing, but I understand why they put Richards over. I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I know that you're not a big fan of when they bring guys in and make them lose right off the bat, especially if they're getting pushed. Mm-hmm. But, I think it would have been fitting to have Michael Richards lose right off the bat. I mean, they do that all the time with young lions. A young lion who's slotted at a lower level than other guys, they take losses. So I wouldn't have been too surprised. I actually expected Uemura to pick up the win here. I was a bit surprised.
So was I, yeah. And especially, too, with Richard, his crab was so sloppy.
Yeah, his crab was
bad. He kept falling over on the Boston Crab towards the end, and then
but you know what, man? He's probably really nervous. Mm-hmm. Big stage, never wrestled in Japan before. Like, I cut him a little bit of slack, but you're right. There's clearly a skill gap between him and literally everyone else who's in this tournament. Mm-hmm. And he's the one Fale Dojo guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So then up next we had Carl Fredericks from the LA Dojo against Ren Narita from the New Japan Dojo.
This was good.
Yeah, this was a really good match. Carl Fredericks, another favorite, and Narita, a guy who was in the 11th Young Lion Cup and has been in the system for a while now. These guys had a nice little snug back and forth matchup here with Narita getting the big win and upset here.
Yeah.
Using what is now known as the Narita Special, which is that leg lace into that I don't even know what to call it because it's not really a sharpshooter because the leg's not in between. It's kind of a clover leaf.
It's not really even that either.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it. Well, yeah, I'll need to go on to like Billy Robinson. Like I'll go into my like trove of wrestling maneuver names and find out what that's called.
But it's the Narita special, guys. The move where he gets the leg lace, rolls him in, and gets a submission in the middle.
Funny thing here, this match went about 2 minutes shorter almost than the previous match, and I liked it quite a bit more. And I think that these guys actually have a way better match inside of them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is an easy 3-star match, and it was only 7 minutes. This is super
enjoyable. If they had more time, this would definitely gone higher.
This is really good. Really good. I mean, so far, I would say Fredericks Narita has been one of, if not my favorite, Young Lion match.
Yeah, and then you had, Narita being the first New Japan Young Lion to get a win.
Because Narita fucking rolls.
Yeah, Narita's the man. Our girl Lauren in Georgia has her Twitter name is the Red Narita Respect Army. I know she was very proud of her little Narita picking up a win here and being the first New Japan Young Lion to get a win.
Nice.
So yeah, but that's good. Great storytelling there, and Narita's been a guy that's been grinding out, and once again, like I mentioned, Carl Fredericks is a guy that people are kind of eyeing as possibly going to be.
He's good, bro.
Yeah,
he's really good.
He's going to be a star. So then we move on. We have some multi-man action here. Yota Shuji, Shooter Umino, and Tenzan taking on Alex Coughlin, Clark Connors, and Satoshi Kojima. This time, Kojima's team picks up the win again with a lariat on Shuji. So once again, fun little multi-man tag there. Then we have Toa Henare, Yoshihashi, and Tomohiro Ishii taking on Chase Owens, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa. We have Henare, Yoshihashi, and Ishii picking up the win here with Ishii hitting a brain buster on Owens. So obviously continuing to build up the tag title match there. Then we had Honma teaming up with Birds of Prey to take on the Bullet Club team of Yujiro Takahashi, Taiji Ishimori, and ELP. Bullet Club gets a win once again with Yujiro hitting the Pimp Juice on Honma. Then we had Sho, Yo, Ryusuke Taguchi, Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on Doki, Kanemaru, Suzuki, and Zack Sabre Jr. We have the Chaos team picking up the win this time with Roppongi 3K hitting the 3K on Doki.
Yeah.
So then we had...
That was a pretty good match. I'd give that match a recommend.
Yeah, the Suzuki Gun multi-mans have been some of the best stuff on this stretch of the tour. And yeah, they've been, obviously with Suzuki and Sabre, they gel really well together.
I actually thought this night in general was one of the better nights of the tour.
Yeah.
Even though it's very, very similar to what we're getting. Obviously, as we're doing the rundown, it's very similar, but this night seemed to just peak a little bit higher in general. But yeah, these multi-man matches have been really good.
Yep, and then we had another pretty good multi-man with Okada, Goto, and Rocky Romero taking on the LIJ team of Sanada, Bushi, and Shingo. This time it was the Chaos team to get the win when Goto hit a Ushigoroshi and GTR on Bushi. So yeah, this match had a lot of energy, and it was another really solid match there. And then we have the main event of the evening, which was Tetsuya Naito teaming up with Evil to take on Jay White and Bad Luck Fale. Once again, it's a solid match. I mean, nothing out of this world here. Coming down to the end, we had, a ref bump, and Gato tried to come in, but Naito took him out. And chair shot by Jay White, and Evil hits him with a chair and hits a short Destino, and they do the baseball chair spot on Fale, and then Naito picks him up, hits a Destino, and gets the win there. So Naito and Evil defeat Jay White and Bad Luck Fale.
Nice.
So that brings us on to the third night on September 6th. So once again, open up with Young Lions Cup action. We had Alex Coughlin from the LA Dojo taking on Michael Richards.
Super important match. Both guys 1-0 at this point in the tournament. All the marbles are on everything's on the line. This one's for all the marbles. And these guys delivered. I mean, blow away. I mean, this was just incredible.
I'm guessing you're being sarcastic there. But, I mean, this, once again, not a huge fan of Richards. I mean, even stepping in the ring with a guy like Coughlin, you see a drastic difference in just their shape and their skill.
I'll tell you this too. I think Alex Coughlin's good, but I don't know if he's someone who's necessarily at that level to carry a guy like Michael Richards either. So I felt a little bit like both guys were sort of out of their element to some degree, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good. I mean, I would have gone, I don't know, 2.5.
Yeah.
And I mean, they weren't given a lot of time. Thankfully, it was, 6.5 minutes, and it was fine for what it was, and they got the job done. But I mean, it is very telling when we are so used to watching these Japanese young lion matches, and they very rarely are under 3 stars, no matter how much time they're given. So that's kind of eye-opening just a bit.
Yeah, and then you have Coughlin. He picks up his second win there, so he's leading the block with that win over Richards.
Yeah, so he beat him with what, a bridge?
Oh yeah, he did like a.
It was like a deathlock.
Yeah, it was similar to the Charlotte Flair's figure 8. He had a deathlock in, and then he did a backwards bridge in the middle, getting Richards to tap there. Yeah,
interesting. I wonder if that's gonna be one of his main moves moving forward or not.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
And then after that, one of the matches I've been very excited about for this Young Lions tournament, regular tag team partners and both LA Dojo members, Clark Connors and Carl Fredericks, who are both surprisingly 0-1 at this point in the tournament. And I thought that this was pretty good.
Yeah, actually, well, that's not right, because Clark beat Umino in the first night.
Oh, that's right. Clark Connors picked up the win.
Yeah.
And Carl Fredericks was 0-1.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. My bad.
No, it's all right. My notes had that same thing, too, and I had to look back and get kind of mixed up with the Young Lions. But yeah, so, Fredericks surprisingly, down, and then Connors had that big upset win on Umino on the first night. So, yeah, I thought this was another good matchup here between these two guys.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't have a lot of intensity, but it was a good athletic contest. It's interesting getting to see what some of these LA Dojo guys can do in singles competition, because we've mostly only seen them really in tag environments up to this point, and a lot of raw talent, a lot of what's the word, potential. Mm-hmm. There are some things that you can kind of see that maybe are lacking just a bit, like some intangibles, but I mean, still really impressive. It's more, what I think it is, it's just like they need more rounds.
Yeah.
They need more experience. And I think that's one of the advantages that guys like Yumura and Tsuji have over them, in that they've gotten to work live audiences in singles competition far more often than probably Clark Connors and Carl Fredericks have.
Right.
But, I mean, you can see the groundwork, and you can see, like, how talented these guys are already. And, I mean, super impressive.
Yeah. And so Fredericks gets the win. He used that high angle half Boston Crab to submit Connors. Oh,
that was deep. I mean, he really wrenched that. Yeah, he wrenched the crap out of
it. So then we move on to the rest of the undercard. We have Yuya Mora, Shooter Umino, teaming up with Tenzan to take on Tsuji, Narita, and Kojima.
Remember when I said we barely ever get to see these guys go against one another?
Well, you're going to see it quite a bit.
Yeah, I was wrong.
So once again, Kojima's team wins, but it was Narita who picked up the win for the team with that overhead bridging suplex.
It is kind of funny how they're treating that match as like the preview match for all the other Young Lions matches throughout the tour. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, which makes Kojima think that he's in the Young Lion Cup. And,
that's hilarious.
Some of the backstage promos, him talking about wanting to win and being in the Young Lions Cup.
Did they correct him? Tell me he's not in it.
No, I don't think they. I think they just kind of let him go, and it's like.
I remember a couple, not last year, but the World Tag League the year before, so in 2017, he was like, we will win. No matter what happens, we will not be defeated. We are winning this tournament. And they're like, you're already mathematically out. And he's like, anything is possible.
They're like,
you never give up.
No, could you?
Like, literally, no, you can't win. You're completely eliminated. And he's like, anything's possible.
Bread Club for life.
Bread Club.
So then we had Hanma, Yoshihashi, and Tomohiro Ishii taking on Yujiro Takahashi and Gorillas of Destiny. Bullet Club gets the win when Tangaloa hits the ape shit on Honma to get the win there.
Scary.
Yeah, it's always scary seeing Honma drop on his head.
Well, I mean, he really wasn't, but still scary.
Yeah. Then we had Hanare teaming up with Birds of Prey to take on Bad Luck Fale, ELP, and Taiji Ishimori. Once again, Birds of Prey looking really good, and I love all the double team combos they're using, and they were kind of teasing that double Spanish fly, which they used to beat Ishimori and ELP at Royal Quest throughout the match. But eventually, it came down to Bad Luck Fale hitting the grenade on Hanare to get the win there.
Yeah, we were at NXT show this past weekend. Who was it that it was Keith Lee against who did he wrestle?
Oh, Shane Thorne.
Shane Thorne kept saying he was going to do a Spanish fly to Keith Lee off the top rope. He finally got him up there. He's like, Spanish fly.
Yeah, that was literally the whole story of the match. Shane Thorne wanted to hit a top rope Spanish fly, and spent the whole match trying to get Keith Lee on top. And then when he finally did, he tried it, but failed.
It did not work. It's pretty funny. Also, I think it's hilarious how you keep talking about how good Birds of Prey look. I don't hear you talking about Phantasmo and Ishimori looking so good.
Well, I already know how good they look. I mean, we're getting a first...
I do too. I know exactly how good they do or don't look.
I think ELP and Ishimori have been a great team. And actually, I'm glad you brought it up, because Ishimori and ELP have been cracking me up with they go to the top rope, jump off, and then do the back rake. Of course, they're doing the double, the running crotch stomp.
All the cheap heat.
Yeah, so cheap heat, just being douchebags and heels. I've actually been loving that. So I'm glad you brought that up.
That's that Jericho stuff. Why do you have a top knot, pal? It's cheap heat, Vince.
Oh, man. So then we had Rocky Romero, Hiroki Goto, and Kazuchika Okada taking on Bushi, Shingo, and Sonata. We had LIJ picking up the win this time with Shingo hitting the Made in Japan on our good friend Rocky Romero.
Yeah, I like that they, from time to time, are allowing the Made in Japan to actually be a finish. I didn't like when it was just like a signature move.
Right.
I don't like that idea.
Especially for New Japan fans who are not familiar with his Dragon Gate work. You might not have known that Made in Japan, like what was so special about Made in Japan, and they just kind of had him, use it as a false finish during that Ospreay match, I believe. So yeah, I'm glad he.
Well, when he pulled it out there, it seemed really special to me because it was like, oh, he's bringing back his original finisher. That's awesome.
Right.
But then since then, he's hit it in a lot of his matches, but as just almost like a signature setup. And I'm kind of like, I don't like that. I like it to actually be a finisher, so it's kind of cool. I mean, it doesn't always have to be, but I like that they're doing this, especially on small undercard stuff that he can finish guys with it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I thought this was one of the better matches of the night here. And of course, we've said it before, these LIJ multi-man matches usually are highlights of the undercards. Yeah, they're usually pretty awesome. And of course, you add Shingo to that mix, it's going to be great.
Yeah, and Shingo's no stranger to fast-paced, high-octane multi-man matches. Guys from Dragon Gate, so.
Yeah. So then we had Evil and Tetsuya Naito taking on Chase Owens and Jay White. We had Evil once again getting the win with the Scorpion Deathlock on Chase Owens. So LIJ gets the win there. Then we had a Bullet Club attack on Evil and Naito. Laid out LIJ, and Jay White steals the IC title.
Yeah. Jay White strap.
Yeah, Jay White strap. And then we had... So going into the next match, it was going to be Tanahashi.
This is my favorite thing that's happened on the whole tour.
Yeah, this is very important right here. So Tanahashi and Taguchi were getting ready to take on Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. Suzuki and Sabre are coming out first. Suzuki runs over, attacks Liger, who's on commentary.
Jump zoned.
Yeah.
He just jump zoned this man so hard. I was like, yes.
It's a Road 2 show, so during the entrance, I'm fiddling around on my phone.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention at all.
And the next thing you know, Suzuki, all her announcers
Yo, he fucking dragged Liger, bro. He dragged the shit out of this man. He started beating him with the chair. I was like, oh my God, it's on. It's back on. And I looked at you and I was like, yeah, you want this man to fight Tanahashi in the Dome. Come on, look at this heat. It's got to be Suzuki. It can't be anyone else.
I mean, they've been doing a good job of heating it up and then pulling away a little bit. Heating it up, pulling away.
That's my method too.
man.
Just like Suzuki, it works.
I did not see that one coming.
You can't set me up for stuff like that.
Oh man, so Suzuki drags Liger into the
Luckily,
ring.
like, we're super deep into this episode. Anyone who's still listening, like, they already know, like, to expect this sort of thing.
Yeah, and then so Suzuki hits the Gotch pile driver on a chair onto Liger, but then Tanahashi and Taguchi come out and make the save.
Yeah.
And then the match kicks off.
Yeah. So what's this thing? Like, I'm seeing people calling Taguchi and Tanahashi the Ass Ace Connection. Like, is that an official thing? Like, was that from, or is that just like a nickname people are giving it?
I think it's just a nickname. It's just started on the internet, the Ass Ace Connection. Obviously, I don't think it's official. It's not, like Dick and Balls.
It's not like Mega Aces?
Yeah.
Which is super official?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But I will say this: I thought that this match was actually really good, and might even have been the best match of the tour so far. Believe it or not, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, this was. Yeah, once again, Suzuki and Sabre are a great tag team. I love.
I love Suzuki and Sabre.
Yeah, I think they work so well together, and I wish they would use them more in the New Japan heavyweight tag team scene.
That would require them to care.
Yeah. And towards the end of this match, after the end, we had Sabre hitting the Zack driver on Tanahashi and one on Taguchi, and getting the win there. And then Sabre, cut the post-match promo.
His post-match promo was excellent. Just freaking going off on Tanahashi, going off on the fans, talking about like it gave me all the Black Panther feels, like, this y'all champion?
And talking about Boris Johnson, he said, "I'm your new prime minister."
He's going off on Boris Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
So, yeah, great stuff there.
Yeah. I think the pre-match attack, the post-match angle, the match itself, like, this was really, really, really good. I'm kind of wondering, though, where they're going with Suzuki moving forward. Like, are we going back into the Liger stuff? Like, obviously, he's been on all these multi-mans, but there hasn't been a clear indication of what the next move is, and I'm guessing they're probably going to jump back into the Liger thing, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see what these tours look like going forward with these guys.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like most of this is just really more focused on Tanahashi and Sabre than anything else.
Right, yeah, they're building up that British heavyweight title match.
Which also is probably another feud of the year contender.
Yeah, this is their 5th match this year.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yep. So now we're on to the last night of the Road to Destruction tour. This was the
Blue Justice.
Yes, the Blue Justice Memorial Show to celebrate, or not memorial, but
he's very well. He's very alive and well, sir.
But the show to celebrate Yuji Nagata.
Yeah.
So once again, opening up with Young Lions Cup action, we had Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura. These guys, they're 2-21 going into this match. This is another feud of the year candidate for me in my head.
The most history of any two young lions in this current crop and in this tournament, and this one wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. It was fine, but I've gotten used to a certain standard from Tsuji and Uemura, and I didn't think that this was up to that standard.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I feel like Tsuji has been kind of off this tournament. Have you been getting that kind of vibe as well?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there, but
he's regressing.
Yeah. But Tsuji ends up picking back the win. I did like the finish though with him. He hit a huge spear, and then he locks on the Boston Crab and really cranked back on Uemura. Uemura tried to fight back, dragged him right back to the middle, cranked super hard on that Boston Crab, and Yota Tsuji picks up the win and gets some points on the board there. So after that match, we moved on to what is my favorite Young Lion Cup match thus far. Shooter Umino versus Ren Narita. These two guys, the top of the Young Lion class. They've kind of had a rivalry going because, while the spotlight's always been shine on Umino, but Narito's been right there, right behind him, grinding as well. And these guys have great chemistry together and put on a really great matchup here.
Yeah, easily I think I said earlier my other favorite was what, Narita against Clark Connors?
Fredericks.
Yeah. I always get them mixed up. I think this was definitely a notch ahead of that, and I completely agree with you. I think this is the best Young Lions Cup match of the tournament, and for good reason. I mean, you had two of the best workers in the entire field, and looky, Red Narita's in the top two matches of the tournament so far.
Surprise.
Go figure.
Yeah, and this was a great back and forth. Narita tried for the Narita special, but Umino was able to reverse it into a cradle. Umino hit a nasty spine buster towards the end and picked up the win with a bridging German suplex. So busting out something new here.
I would like to see them in the World Tag League together.
That would be an interesting team.
Narita and Umino?
Yeah.
I would love it.
But yeah, so this was really good. I went about a 3.5 on this one.
Same.
Yeah, definitely
really good.
The best Young Lion Cup match so far.
Yeah, I really dug this. I would actually rewatch it again. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. So then we move on to the rest of the undercard. Tomohiro Ishii, Yoshihashi, Makabe, and Honma taking on the Young Lion team of Clark Connors, Carl Fredericks, Alex Coughlin, and Michael Richards.
Oh, and before we move on, let's put it in just some perspective. For some of you, maybe some of you who are listening, I'm sure the majority of you probably are big fans of the Young Lions, but if you're unfamiliar, this is new to you, these are short matches. So just keep that in mind when we say oh, this is really good, it's 3.5. We're talking about a 9-minute match, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
If it's a 30-minute match and we're 3.5, then maybe we're not talking about. But these little short Young Lion matches, this one in particular, I give a high recommend to.
Yeah, definitely worth a watch. So here in this multi-man, we had Yoshihashi submitting Richards with that awful butterfly lock to get the win for his team.
Bro, I don't even know. I don't want to complain. The thing is, we've complained about this move so many times, but I just wonder, if I'm Yoshihashi, do I ever look back on the tape and think to myself, do I have self-awareness to think, wow, this move really looks like shit. Maybe I should stop doing it. Or, does anyone, who works at New Japan get embarrassed for him about it? Because it looks terrible.
Yeah.
It's, really bad.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I don't know. Yeah, he needs to drop that immediately.
They need to stop. Yeah, they're not going to though. So it's almost not even worth talking about.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep every time we see it, we're gonna come on here. And
but it angers me. It hurts my heart.
So do I. As soon as I see it, I'm just especially because it's one of his finishers.
Yeah, and because he's gonna win with it too.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god, here we go again.
Yeah. But moving on.
Negative half star.
-5 stars. So we had Birds of Prey teaming up with Hanare again to take on the Bullet Club team of Chase Owens, Taiji Ishimori, and ELP. We had the Bullet Club getting the win here with the package power driver from Chase onto Hanare. Once again, another good match between these guys, and both teams looking good. Then we had a Suzuki Gun multi-man with Sabre, Minoru Suzuki, Kanemaru, and Doki taking on Tanahashi, Taguchi, Sho, and Yo. We had Suzuki Gun getting the win here. Sabre submits Sho to get the win.
Yeah.
Which was another really good matchup once again. The Suzuki Gun multi-mans have been really good on this tour.
Yeah, the Suzuki Gun multi-mans, and then also the LIJ 6-man tags. Those have been the two staple really good matches all throughout.
So then we had Hiroki Goto, Rocky Romero, and Kazuchika Okada taking on the LIJ team of Shingo, Bushi, and Sonata. We had LIJ getting the win here with Sonata locking the skull in on Rocky Romero. Once again, a good match that continues to build up the Okada Sonata and the Shingo Goto matches. And then we have Naito and Evil taking on Jay White and Gato. We have Evil getting the win once again with that Scorpion Deathlock on Gato. So definitely, just nailing home the fact that Scorpion Deathlock is one of his moves now.
One criticism.
Yeah.
While what I'm about to say could be applied to almost every match in some form or fashion on this tour, it's more apparent to me on this particular matchup. These Naito, Jay White tag matches, they're pretty much the exact same match every night with just slight variations. And like I said, I know that could kind of be applied to everything, but it's more so. Like I think they're doing a good job with the character work with Naito and Jay White when it comes to the the before the match and after the match stuff, and even in ring. But man, it is like they are not changing hardly anything. Like if you literally only needed to watch one of these the whole tour, I didn't need to watch 4 of these, honestly.
Yeah,
and that's the one. And again, like I said, you could kind of apply that, I guess, to the other matches, but it seems like a lot of the other workers on the tour are doing enough to keep it fresh and change things up and all that. But like Naito and Jay White and Evil and whoever Jay White's teaming with during the tour, like they're not. They're doing the same stuff every night.
Yeah, same formula, cut and paste, and
it is cut and paste.
And normally it would be fine because normally back in the day these Road 2 shows weren't always televised, or they're in different cities and stuff like that. But the first 3 nights were all in Corkin. This one was in a different building.
That's the crazy thing. They kept doing the same match in Corkin. That's what really threw me off about it. I'm like, really? Like that was a little surprising to me. And again, it's because the other matchups they're doing things to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
So yeah, I don't know what they're doing. And we got more Road 2 shows coming up this week, and I'm pretty sure they'll probably be doing a lot of the similar matches once again.
I know we got questions. I know we got some reviews, and we got news and things to get to.
We got one last match.
Oh, my bad.
We got the Blue Justice match.
Oh yeah,
yeah, how could I forget? Celebrating 35 years of Yuji Nagata. So we had Yuji Nagata, Tenzan, Kojima, return of Nakanishi, haven't seen him in a while, and Liger taking on Bad Luck Fale, God, Yujiro Takahashi, and Jado. Fine match here.
This is fun.
It was a nice little match to please the crowd. Obviously, everybody was there to celebrate Yuji Nagata, and Nagata got the win with the Nagata lock on Jado. So yeah, good back and forth match. Bullet Club being the heels, and Blue Justice team, coming back from behind and getting the win there. So
not just that, but like obviously we know that Liger's on this finale tour. We're never gonna see him team with this generation of guys probably ever again. This 3rd generation dads sort of situation. And the funny thing, Liger's like way older than all. It's funny because you look at them, Liger's in that bodysuit, and you kind of actually think that Liger's younger because he moves better than the majority of them. Mm-hmm. But he's not. He's way older than most of them. And yeah, this was fun. But I mean, it's it wasn't like a classic or anything. But I mean, we're never gonna see it again.
Yeah.
So kind of special moment actually a little bit there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for our 4 nights of destruction. Before we move on, I just want to ask: so far, where are you when it comes to this tour? After 4 nights, like how are we feeling in this post G1 wrestling landscape right now?
Yeah, I thought
give us the New Japan state of affairs.
This tour so far has just been fine. I mean, they have been building up all the bigger matches for the upcoming Destruction Tour and King of Pro Wrestling. Some good Young Lions matches there. Obviously, like the Narita and Umino. But, once again, these guys are coming off G1. They're kind of easing back into things. They had some, most of these guys had some time off. Some of the juniors worked the Super J Cup, and they also worked, some of those guys worked Royal Quest as well, but that was they had some time in between Royal Quest and then some time in between these tours. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been getting back into the groove.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
So then we had a question here from Reddit user ablue3. Says, do you think that Fredericks versus Umino will main event Wrestle Kingdom one day?
If you had to make me put money on it, I'd say no. I don't have a reason to think that would ever be the case. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen. It doesn't mean it won't happen. But I mean, I don't have any real indicators to think that that's a future Wrestle Kingdom main event, personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's way too early to tell. Way too early. Because, we saw it with Kitamura. This guy comes in, looks great, it's getting the push, and we think he's going to be a star, and then he disappears. So
yeah.
It's so hard to count on these young lions because you never know if they're going to eventually stick through or what they're going to become.
Also, the whole concept of Gaijin Young Lions is a fairly recent thing in the history of New Japan. I mean, obviously we've got guys that are here now, like Juice and like Dave Finlay and stuff like that, Jay Whito. But before those guys, I mean, that never happened. So, I mean, I don't have any real reason. I'm not questioning. I'm not criticizing Carl Fredericks and being like, he's not going to stay, because I don't know that. I can't say that. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, who's to say that a young, jacked, good-looking white guy like Fredericks doesn't get called and paid more money to go somewhere like WWE or AEW or what have you? That's a possibility. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't think that they're going to be calling him Mino possibly, you know, because there is like a thing against, you know, like a lot of Western companies don't know how to use Asian wrestlers. Like they just don't. They haven't in most companies demonstrated a track record for that or even a desire to do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I don't know that Carl Fredericks will be here in 10 years.
Right. Yeah,
that's hard to say.
Right. But I mean, I think it would be a great matchup and it'd be a great story. You can call back to this Young Lions Cup and, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, who knows? I don't know what their long-term plans are. I don't know what the ambitions of those two wrestlers are, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know what New Japan's going to be like in 10 years, you know, 5 years. So, I mean, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool, but I don't see it. So, like, I can't project out that far.
So, next question from Reddit user My Base Baseball says, not counting the Young Lion Cup, any match recommendations? I know Road 2 shows usually run similar matches, but there's got to be better done / more versions of one. So
I think we like kind of pointed out the ones that we thought were particularly good in the early part of the show, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, if you listen back, if you heard, we've kind of said stuff, trying to go back to my ratings real quick here. So the Sabre and Suzuki versus Tanahashi and Taguchi from night 3.
Yeah, that's a big recommend.
That's probably the best undercard match so far. Then also,
that was the main event.
What's that?
You said undercard.
Oh, sorry, main event, yeah. And then Okada and Goto versus Sonata and Shingo from night 1.
Oh, yeah, that was really good.
Was really good as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here.
And then from the last night, Tanahashi, Taguchi, and Punky 3K versus Suzuki Gun was really good as well.
And just watch the Blue Justice match. Just do it. We're never going to get to see Nagata, Tenzan, Kojima, Nakanishi, and Liger team up again, so just watch it. It's fun.
Then we have a question from Reddit user Rambo and Slam Pig. How do you feel this class of Young Lions stacks up compared to previous classes?
This is one of the best ever. I mean, so here's the thing. You never know how Young Lions are going to turn out long term. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's one thing to be able to go back and take a look at retroactively look back and be like, wow, that class was incredible because they turned into something, and there's always that potential. But there's a big difference between that and then watching them live and seeing where they're already at. I don't know if this will be like, quote unquote, one of the more successful classes or crops of talent that they've ever had. I can't say that. You never know how they're going to turn out.
Right.
But in terms of where they're at right now as Young Lions, it's one of the most talented crops of talent that they've ever had while they're still in that infantile stage.
Right. If you compare Young Lions stage to Young Lions stage, these guys have just been rocking it.
Yeah. And, you know, New Japan has such a lengthy history and has gone through so many different, eras and so many different kinds of philosophies and management styles. And the way that the Young Lions have operated and been run has really changed. Like, what we're watching is a more modern thing. They've always had Young Lions. They've always had that sort of system. But the way that it's being done right now is, I think, more streamlined. And it has been for the last 6, 7, 8 years with a lot of success. I mean, you look at Sho and Yo, you look at Jay White, you look at Desperado, you look at Hiromu Takahashi, you look at all these guys that have come through that system and been, you know, superstars. And, you know, they've had misfires. They've had their Kenemitsus and their, Kitamuras and guys like that. But, I mean, they just turn out stars. And right now they've got 4 studs in the New Japan class. all four of them have so much upside, and then these LA guys just look fantastic too.
Yeah, because coming in and killing it.
So yeah, I'm nothing but impressed with the current crop of talent that they have.
Yep. And so speaking of the Young Lions, so we have our standings here for the Young Lion Cup. We have Alex Coughlin's on top of the board, 2-0 with 4 points. We got Clark Connors, Michael Richards, Shooter Umino, Ren Narita, Carl Fredericks, and Yoto Sushi all with 1-1, 2 points. And then at the bottom, we have Yuya Yamura 0-2 with 0 points.
I'm a bit surprised by that.
Yeah. I would think just based on the pecking order, I think I would have thought, Richards would have been in that kind of role, but the Umura's there.
Well, still a long tournament to go, lots of time, so we'll see where we end up when it's all said and done.
Yep, and so the Young Lion Cup will continue this week. On September 10th, we'll have Umura taking on Fredericks, and then we'll have Umino taking on Richards. On September 11th, we'll have Sushi taking on Connors, Narita taking on Coughlin. On September 12th, Narita will be taking on Suji, Fredericks will be taking on Coughlin, and then on September 14th, we will have Umino versus Umura and Connors versus Richards. So that's going to bring us to our preview time for Destruction in Beppu and Destruction in Kagoshima.
And we're, a week away from these?
Yes, so Destruction in Beppu will be happening on Sunday. Destruction in Kagoshima will be happening on Monday.
Wow. So we have a pretty busy week ahead of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For all the Young Lion Cup matches, as well as these two big Destruction shows here.
Cool.
So the first matchup on Destruction in Beppu, we will have more Young Lions Cup matches. It will be Suji taking on Fredericks.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to say who I think is going to win at this point because I haven't really mapped out the Young Lions Cup for myself. But I'll throw it up to Suji.
I think I'm going to go with Fredericks here.
That makes sense. I'm throwing the wild card.
No, but yeah, hey, Suji could win just to throw off Fredericks and kind of give him another loss there.
Yeah. The match after that, we've got Shota Umino versus Alex Coughlin. I think that's an easy one. I think it's Shota Umino for sure.
Yeah, especially with Coughlin. Obviously, he has 2 matches during the week, but right now he's in the lead. I definitely see Umino getting a win over him to kind of reclaim some stake in the leaderboard there.
So after that, we have another Young Lions Cup multi-man match. So we've got Yumura and Narita teaming up with Ryosuke Taguchi and Yuji Nagata taking on the team of Alex Richards, Clark Connors, Toa Hanare, and Manabu Nakanishi.
Yeah, this one should be interesting. I think I'm going to go with Nagata getting the win over Richards with Nagata lock.
Yeah, I'll go with the Nagata Taguchi team, of course.
So then we have Sho and Yo, Roppongi 3K, teaming up with Jushin Thunder Liger to take on the Suzuki-gun team of Doki, Kanemaru, and Minoru Suzuki.
Okay, I'm really looking forward to this because we're getting Liger and Suzuki mixed up once again. Also, something tells me that Sho and Yo being on the opposite end of Doki and Kanemaru probably is a somewhat of a tease or indication of a team between Doki and Kanemaru for the Junior Tag League. Yeah,
because Junior Tag League, it's right around the corner in the beginning of November. And obviously with El Desperado still being out, Doki will probably be taking his spot once again in the Super Junior Tag League and be teaming up with Kanemaru.
But Liger and Suzuki being on the opposite ends of one another, I've been waiting for this for a while, and we're here. And it's so funny. This is like one of my favorite feuds of the year. They haven't even had a match.
Right, and especially after this last angle with Suzuki hitting that gotch on the chair, things are starting to heat back up. So, yeah, good luck to whoever's refereeing this match trying to control Liger and Suzuki.
One thing I will say, New Japan has an okay social media presence, but, they ran that angle, and that angle was so awesome. And very little buzz about it, very little people talking about it. I mean, you really have to be a diehard. If I was like their social media manager, that would be front and center. That'd be all over the internet. You know what I mean? They should be doing that.
And one thing I failed to mention in the last night in the Suzuki Gun match, Suzuki went to the commentary table, grabbed a pen, and stabbed Yo in the head with a pen.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that.
So that's what I meant. Red Shoes losing complete control out here. You got Suzuki out here stabbing people in the head with pens.
Yeah. Well, after, in this match, I think I'm going to go Suzuki. Just the Suzuki team makes sense to me. But
Yeah, I'm going to have Suzuki pinning either Sho or Yo.
Although, Doki's there, he could easily be a pin eater.
Yeah, he could eat a 3K.
But after that, I'm excited for that. So the next match, we got the Birds of Prey teaming up with GBH and Kota Ibushi, taking on the team of ELP, Ishimori, Yujiro, Fale, and Kenta, the Bullet Club. It's weird to say Kenta and the Bullet Club.
Yeah. So we got Kenta back on the tour after his health scare in Royal Quest.
Yeah, they told me he was fine, but I ain't seen him back for a while.
He's back here on this tour, continuing to build up ELP, Ishimori against Birds of Prey, and obviously the Osprey ELP match coming up. And then also they're building up the Kota Ibushi Kenta match for the contract coming up as well. I think I'm going to go with the Bullet Club team winning.
No. I don't know. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't know. The weird thing with this is a lot of these matches don't really matter.
Right.
As weird as that sounds, it's a Destruction tour, and they're good matches. They're fine, but the outcomes don't matter. It's weird because wins and losses do matter in New Japan, but it's a lot of multi-man matches that could go either way, and the matches that they're pointing to would still be fine either way.
Right, and honestly, each team has a pin eater. So on the Bullet Club side, Yujiro Takahashi is a pin eater, and then on the Hanma on the other side. So
I think Hanma's going to lose. So I'll go Bullet Club. It makes sense.
Yeah, I can see Hanma eating a GTS. So next up, we have the Chaos team of Rocky Romero, Goto, and Okada taking on the LIJ team of Bushi, Shingo, and Sonata. Kind of more of what we've seen on this past tour here. They've been kind of trading wins here. But on this one, I'm going to go with Sonata getting the win over Rocky.
Yeah, that makes sense. Although I wouldn't be surprised to see Okada. I don't think Okada's won too many matches during the Road 2.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up hitting a Rainmaker on Bushi.
Yeah, that would make sense. So then we have Evil and Naito taking on Chase Owens and Jay White. I think Evil will get the win here once again with that Scorpion Deathlock on Owens.
Are you concerned that the fact that Evil keeps winning most of the matches during these Owens and Jay White matches, that it indicates something about the potential outcome? I don't know. I'm just worried.
Are you saying that it's going to be Jay White that beats Naito and then Evil will face Jay White next? Is that what you're kind of?
No, I'm just saying Naito keeps being on the winning side. What if he's about to drop this belt?
That could be. I think they're heating up Evil because he has a win over Ibushi. And so if Ibushi beats Kenta, then Evil will be the next guy in line for the contract match.
He beat Ibushi during the G1?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know why I don't remember that.
So he would be next in line for a contract shot.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good call.
So the next up, we have the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Title match with the champions, Gorilla of Destiny, defending against the challengers, Yoshihashi and Tomohiro Ishii.
This is the semi-main event?
Yes.
Yeah. And we have questions surrounding it, too.
Yeah, so a question from Maserati says, how would you guys reinvigorate, thank you, the heavyweight tag team title division? What teams would you like to draft in NJPW? Are there any previously established teams already in NJPW you might want to reinvent, repackage, or just invigorate with a new push?
Yeah. We've said ideas in the past. There's always the one idea.
Unify the divisions, which makes sense. But if you're not going to do that, then my whole thing is something similar to what they're doing right here. You've got Ishii and Yoshihashi. The only thing is, in most cases, not all, but most cases, we kind of know what's happening here.
Yoshihashi and Ishii are most likely probably not winning these belts.
Right.
Like, they've never even put a belt on Yoshihashi ever in any capacity, not even a 6-man tag. But like, what if they took Ishii and another upper mid card or even main eventer who wasn't doing anything, like Goto? It doesn't have to be Goto,
right?
Should be Goto. But I would, well, you know, like, what if Tanahashi and Okada were both not fighting for the IWGP title, so then they end up...
Dude, I think Mega Ace's title run will be great. I know we've kind of joked about it, but I'm serious. Like, let's say Okada doesn't walk out of January 4th and 5th with the title. I think to mix it up and to keep him away from the title picture, have Okada, Tanahashi as the heavyweight tag champs.
You know, we don't get we don't do that whole thing where we jump up on a soapbox and talk about how they have too many titles in New Japan too much, because I think given the way they like to book and the way they like to run their company, they have an appropriate amount of belts personally. But the reason I think that is because they don't care about certain titles. They don't care very much about their tag belts, any of them.
Right.
They've got 3 tag belts. They don't care about any of them. So, but they kind of have to have them because all companies do have tag belts. So that's just one of those things. They could literally probably get rid of at least 1 to 2 of their secondary singles men's titles if they're willing to reinvest into the heavyweight title scene, because then they could headline more shows. I mean, I don't know. I'm a big fan of like what 90s All Japan used to do. And when guys were not fighting for the main prizes, the main stars were fighting in tag matches, and that just made a lot more sense. And I think that's how I would reinvigorate the tag division.
Yeah, you could have like Mega Aces and Suzuki-gun feuding over the tag titles.
There's a lot of things you could do, you know, a lot. Like, what if you had Jay White and Kenta teaming up, you know, or as like the top 2 guys in the Bullet Club, things like that. That's something you would have seen in the past, and, you know, we don't get very much of nowadays. The other thing too, I mean, are there any teams that you'd like to draft into New Japan? Because it seems like almost everyone is getting signed up.
That's what I'm trying to think. I mean, a lot of teams a lot of the good teams are signed.
I like Aussie Open.
Yeah, I mean, Aussie Open, you know, and they had a great showing against these guys at Royal Quest. I think they would be a great team to kind of bring in. I'm trying to think of any other established teams that would be worth bringing in.
Bro, AEW's got like the tag team division of all tag team divisions now.
Yeah.
Like, they, without even with having 4 shows under their belt, they have maybe the best compiled tag team division ever in history of any company ever, anywhere. And just given the nature of how the wrestling industry is right now, with all the exclusive contracts everyone's signed up to with all these different companies, it's really hard to like bring in a good tag team. I mean, even like you look at their partners, like Ring of Honor, like who do they have? The Briscoes?
Yeah, the Briscoes. I mean, they're good, but we've kind of...
And who else? That's it, right?
The Bouncers.
Yeah, exactly.
Lifeblood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Like,
I guess you could bring in like a CMLL team, I guess. I don't know.
You could. Yeah, I mean, you could do that. I think that it would be incumbent upon New Japan to build their division up. They've got enough talent and enough guys to do this. Look at how many multi-man matches we're seeing on every single card. They could easily do this if they really wanted to. That's what I would do. Is I would repackage people, and I would put them in you know, dedicated tag teams, and I would make tag team matches matter. But that would require a change in booking philosophy and emphasis. Maybe one thing you could do is, instead of like I remember in the past, like they had set Liger up to be the booker of the junior division, and that's all he booked. And because in many cases New Japan is a very compartmentalized company, I don't see why you couldn't have somebody just be over the tag team division and maybe take the reins from Gato on that sort of thing.
Right.
That might be actually beneficial. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening, I don't know. That's an idea.
Have like Kojima and Tenzon like be the bookers of a tag division or something like that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
And then they put themselves over all the time.
Tengozi, your new IWGP Tag Champions. Oh, man. So, another question from Danny maker of the NJPW extension. He says, Maserati and I are of the same mind. What do you think of replacing Junior and World Tag League with a single tournament of teams comprised of one heavy and one junior member? It might turn out to be a disaster, but I've always liked when teams have that dynamic.
That's a fun idea. I don't have any issue with them having a tournament where it's like one heavyweight, one junior. Although, and I remember last year that they seemed to be doing that specifically during the Best of the Super Juniors undercards.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. But, and I agree with you, but here's my thing is like, I think the whole idea of having a tag team tournament is supposed to crown like who the best. It's supposed to be like the G1 basically. So if you want my opinion, I just think that they should just have one tournament and it should just be no weight limits and it should have all the tag teams in it. And it might be a lot better than what we've gotten over the past few years. And I mean, taking nothing, you know, what's funny, last year World Tag League was much better overall than the Junior Tag League, which is kind of crazy because the Junior Tag League had a much better field of competitors. And I was more excited for it. Ended up not being very good. Well, it was okay. But the World Tag League ended up being pretty good last year.
Yeah, it did.
For the first time in a long time. But that's our dog. He needs to chill. Anyway, so I would rather them just have one tournament with dedicated tag teams that actually had long-standing. My only criticism of them having to be limited to having one heavy and one junior is like that's more of like a gimmick, and maybe you could build off of it. You could, you know, you definitely could, but why not just like have the tag teams that you have, you know? Mm-hmm. If they have two juniors, great. If they got two heavies, great. If they've got a mix of the two, perfect. Like I would, and that's another thing too. Like why don't they start mixing tag teams where they have heavyweights and juniors on the same team? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like why not have a team of Sho and Ishii?
Dude, that would be
exactly. That'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah. But again, it's one of those things like they have to have somebody dedicated. They have to make tag team wrestling a priority in New Japan. And until that happens, none of these great ideas are ever going to come to fruition.
So maybe we should talk about God versus Yoshihashi and Ishii, I guess.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. You know, they have been kind of building up the fact that Yoshihashi hasn't really won a title. And they've called back in the backstage promos. They've called back to the last time that Yoshihashi and Ishii challenged for the tag team titles and a failing challenge.
Was it against God?
I think it was against God as well.
They're like 5-time champions.
Yeah. So there is some backstory here, and you know Yoshihashi really wanted to win a title. So I mean, they could pull an upset here and have Yoshihashi and Ishii win.
GOD's had the belts since like April, so I mean they've had a very lengthy run. So you're right, they definitely could do that. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter either way.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with the safe bet.
They should just put the titles on Aussie Open the other week. They would have been better.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah,
I'll go with the safe bet and just go with God.
Just go God.
Yeah, retaining. And then the main event of Beppu, we have the Rev Pro British Heavyweight title match with the champion Tanahashi defending the title against Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. Like, how do you feel about this feud? Because I feel like I'm somebody who really enjoys the Tanahashi and Zack Sabre matches. But I hear a lot of people who like are just kind of down on it or just don't care or not compelled by it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that think it's too grapple heavy. They put too many submissions that's kind of lay around.
And I'm like, grappling is wrestling. It's too wrestling heavy. There's too much wrestling in the wrestling match.
But I think they've done a great job of kind of not just sitting on the mat with Tanahashi kind of fighting back with strikes and fighting back with dragon screws and stuff like that. And
yeah, the funny thing is, like, remember their first like big match? Well, they've had several big matches, but like from recent antiquity, last year at the in the finals of the
New Japan Cup.
Yeah, the New Japan Cup. People were like calling that 5 stars and stuff, and I didn't think it landed anywhere near that at the time. And it was enjoyable, but I thought all these things that people are criticizing about being too grapple heavy and too submission oriented and too much like laying around. That's what I felt like at the time when we watched that. Since that time, every match of theirs, I feel like it's getting better and better and better, and I'm enjoying it more and more. And I think these guys have incredible chemistry. So I'm always very surprised when people are like, this doesn't do anything for me. I'm not into it. You know what you're getting and all that. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Tanahashi and Zack Sabre, like, I'm not saying they're like 5-star matches, but they always deliver in spades for me. I always like their matches.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed their matches as well, and I think they've done a good job of kind of mixing up the grappling style with Tanahashi's kind of style and moveset, and there have been some really entertaining matches all in the 4-star and above range for me.
Yeah.
So I think this will be another solid main event here.
Yeah. I think Zack Sabre, I mean, I really don't know who's winning here, to be honest. I felt confident that Tanahashi was going to obtain the belt, but they could go back to Zack at this point if they really wanted to. I don't know. I feel like it's sort of a waste to just to have it hot shotted to Tanahashi and then back to Zack Sabre like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, like, if I was Rev Pro, I would want to get dates on Tanahashi.
Right.
Personally. I mean, that's the main thing to me. Like, if I was like them, if I'm Rev Pro, I want to get dates on him and bring him back. Right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, it could be one of those things where they just, like, wanted to do a big surprise title change and it benefited everybody, and it's just a 1-month deal, and Zack's going to have the belt back.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm going with Sabre here.
After everything I just said, you're like, I'll go with Sabre.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like Sabre has been... He has picked up some wins on the undercards, but overall, I just feel like he's been losing a lot of big matches.
That's valid.
So I think he kind of needs a big win here and kind of rebound and kind of end the year on a positive note for him.
Yeah. But then if they do that, was it even worth it to have put the belt on Tanahashi?
Probably not, but like you said, it was a surprise title change. The crowd in the UK popped for it. It kind of conditions the crowd, let you know, hey, anything can happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have strong opinions one way or the other. I just feel like if you're gonna put the belt on Tanahashi, then make it. To me, then you should just be bringing him back and getting dates on him. But you're probably right. I mean, they'll probably go back to Zack. Yeah. So that'd be my prediction, too. And this will probably be a fantastic match, especially in the main event.
So we had a question from Reddit user, why did you do that, bro? It says, if Tanahashi isn't losing the British belt to Zack, who should he lose it to?
I mean, the A-Kid. I don't know. Pac. I don't know. I don't know enough guys over there.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar who's left on the Rev Pro roster in the main singles side.
How cool would it be to get Tanahashi and Pac?
Dude, that would be awesome.
Also, why do I have to call this guy Pac now?
Well,
it's been a decade. It's been a decade, and no one ever in any company, on any publication, ever, including himself, has ever called him Pac. He has always called himself Pac. They have all always called him Pac. Suddenly it's Pac.
Well, I think it's been an accent thing because he did a podcast interview a while. I think it was like last year on Talk of Jericho, like right after he got released, saying that his name was Pac because they called him Six Pack because he had 6-pack abs or whatever.
Yeah.
That's all he had, and so that's where it came from. But I guess maybe the British pronunciation, it comes off as Pac, and so everybody just thought that's how it's pronounced until finally, 10 years later, he's like, I'm finally going to correct people. So
I feel like if you have to wait 10 years and you didn't correct anybody up till now, then you just roll with it. You take that loss, you take that L. Don't change it now.
It's like that one shy kid, like you say his name wrong, and he's too afraid to correct you, so you just like keep calling him.
No, that's your name now. You accepted this L. You had 10 years to do it. Don't be trying to change it now.
Yeah, his
name is Pat. His name is Pac.
It's so weird hearing Pac and
his name's not Pac. And also, just so everyone knows, Pac is not a cooler sounding name. Pac sounds way cooler than Pac.
Yeah.
Pac is. Pac sucks.
Maybe he changed it for heat.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that. Yeah, this is all like his bastard heel like stuff. Like he was like, what would really get some heat? I'm gonna start calling myself Pac.
Oh man. All right, so now we're gonna look at.
I don't put it past them. They're all workers.
Yeah, we're gonna look at Destruction, Destruction and Kagoshima. So Young Lions Cup match. We got Umura versus Connors.
Yeah, so Yumura Connors. I'm going to go Clark Connors.
I'm going to go with Yumura, man. He needs to get something on the board. Obviously, he'll have a couple matches during the week.
I'm assuming he's already got some stuff on the board by this point, personally.
Gotcha, okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm just going to go with Yumura.
And the next match better be Narita.
Yeah, we got Ren Narita versus Michael Richards. Yeah, Narita better
be Narita.
Hitting that Narita special.
If Richards beats Narita, something's wrong.
Yeah, we will be on this podcast next week.
It'll make me feel like something's not right with pro wrestling. How did Richards beat Narita?
People worrying about Naito main event this dome. Nah, they need to be worried of whether or not they're going to book Richards to beat Narita. That's the bigger issue right now.
Yeah. Obvious cooperation.
So yeah, going Narita. So then we got Tsuji, Umino, Taguchi, and Nagata versus Coughlin, Fredericks, Hanare, and Nakanishi.
I don't know. I'll go Hanare Nakanishi just because we went with Taguchi Nagata the night before.
I'm going to stick with Nagata once again.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Then we have Shoyo, Yoshihashi, and Ishii taking on Owens, Fale, and God.
Barn burner. It's going to be great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's always one of the weird things about New Japan when they have these multiple, when they have like Destruction tours or like multiple like New Beginnings, and they'll have like a big match. Like for instance, in this case, Yoshihashi and Ishii versus God for the tag title. It's one of the main matches of the first night, but then they put them in a multi-man match the night right after that. That's always so weird.
Yeah.
It's always so weird, especially like if they're not going to continue the feud afterwards. So it's just kind of like, well, I don't know. It's one of the weird formula things they do in New Japan. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I guess I'll go with the Bullet Club team winning since I have God retaining because it wouldn't really make a lot of sense for them to lose after try to set up the matchup again. So, yeah, I'll go with maybe Fale hitting the grenade on Yo.
Yeah, I agree.
So then we have Liger, Honma, Makabe, Tanahashi taking on Doki, Kanemaru Suzuki, and Zack Sabre Jr. So we got Suzuki and Liger on a multi-man again.
Yeah, with Tanahashi there, hopefully he's not too banged up after that Zack Sabre match. This actually might be really fun. Yeah, this should be a good little match. And again, Liger and Suzuki. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm going to go with Suzuki Gun Team with Honma probably taking the fall.
Since I predicted something like that the night before, I don't know. I'm going to go 50-50. I'm a 50-50 book on this tour. I'm going to go with the Sekigun Team.
Tanahashi pinning Doki, maybe?
Hama's going to hit a Kokashi on Doki and pin him.
Oh, man. So then, once again, Rocky, Goto, and Okada versus Bushi, Shingo, and Sanada.
I don't know. It is weird to me, like, doing a prediction for all these big matches. Well, like, big shows, semi-big shows, because these are, like, I guess, C-level shows. Mm-hmm. To where I don't care about, like, I have no strong inclinations about who's winning these matches.
Yeah, it's weird.
But they're full of big stars, and they're really good preview matches. This is barely a step above a Road to show.
Yeah.
In fact,
it's pretty much it.
It's pretty much our Road to shows.
Except the semi-main and main.
Yeah, but we've had Road to shows that had, like, bigger matches like this on it, like, especially, like, in Cork, and these are essentially Road to shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. LIJ.
Who did I go with last time?
I went LIJ.
I'll go Chaos this time.
Screw you.
Then we got Evil and Naito versus Yujiro Takahashi and Jay White. Gonna go with Evil and Naito again.
I'll ride with you. I don't care.
Scorpion Deathlock on Yujiro. So it brings us to our semi-main. We have the IWGP Junior Tag titles on the line as the Birds of Prey, Will Ospreay and Robbie Eagles will challenge the champions from the Bullet Club, Ishimori and ELP.
Well, I don't know. These titles really don't matter very much, and they switch them all the time. So I don't know. Birds of Prey. I'll just go with them. Again, I don't have strong inclinations one way or the other. Like, I could see Ishimori and ELP retaining, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and you got Super Junior Tag League coming up as well. You know what? I'm gonna ride with you. I'm gonna go Birds of Prey. getting the win.
What if Robbie Eagles isn't actually good and he's actually still Bullet Club and he turns on?
And it's been a work this whole time.
This is all work.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey got this.
Yeah. And so then we got the Wrestle Kingdom contract matchup with Kota Ibushi defending the contract against Kenta.
We're about to get this Kenta Wrestle Kingdom main event.
Kenta versus Okada rematch.
Okada's going to lose the title at King of Pro Wrestling to Mox. We're getting
Kenta and
Mox Wrestle Kingdom WWE match.
The match that WWE always wanted to book but failed to do. So.
Oh, and Jericho's going to like insert himself triple threat. We're going to have a triple threat at the Tokyo Dome.
Unification.
Yeah. And then Jericho's going to win it and then leave and lose all the belts. Not to anyone in particular.
No, we'll have
just actually physically lose them. Like, they'll be lost.
No, Jericho's going to win. And then after Jericho wins, we'll have a simulcast of Tony Khan coming up on the screen saying
oh, my God.
that he bought New Japan.
But in all seriousness, I'm going to go Ibushi, obviously. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of match they work between Ibushi and Kenta, given the fact that, like, Kenta essentially squashed Ibushi in that first, when we were in Dallas, when we were there for that show, the first night of the G1 this past year. I mean, Kenta literally squashed Ibushi. So I'm expecting Ibushi, obviously, to retain. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what kind of match to expect here. Maybe this is the match that people wanted at that time. They didn't get. They were upset. There were a lot of people who were upset about that match.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who were disappointed. So,
but I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, I wouldn't know what to think if Kenta won. Then I wouldn't know what to think.
Dude, yeah, but yeah, I think it's pretty safe that Kota Ibushi is going to retain the contract here.
Yeah.
All right, so now we got a few questions, and then we will.
Are you looking forward to these Destruction shows?
I'm looking forward to the semi-mains and mains and the Young Lion Cup matches. But the rest of the card stuff that I've seen a billion times this past week, and we'll see again, flipping through these Road 2 shows this week.
I know I'm feeling really sick this week, like really sick. So I'm not sure like if my lack of enthusiasm is just because I'm sick or this is trash. It's not trash. It's not trash.
It's just weak.
It is a little weak.
Especially coming off the G1. We were having steak every night for dinner.
But it's not just that. We've had a really strong year. Like, it's been a long time since we've had weaker, main quote-unquote shows like this.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Let's jump into these questions. Let's see what the fans have to say.
Yep, so we got a question here from
the listeners.
Reddit user Eater of Bread. He says, we've heard Kawata went back to Japan for health reasons. Have you heard anything lately about Oka? He hasn't had a match since February. Do you think we'll see him in New Japan again?
Yeah, I heard that he hasn't wrestled since since February.
Yeah, I have not heard an update on Oka. I've been looking out and trying to.
We don't know.
Look out for Rev Pro stuff or any indie UK stuff.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody has heard from him. I don't even know if he's even still in the UK or not. So I don't know what's going on there. We'll try and dig around and try and get some more background on what's going on with Oka, if he's going to come back anytime soon. But maybe they're holding off for a big debut. Maybe he shows up at King of Pro Wrestling, maybe or something. I don't know.
I don't know. He hasn't wrestled since February. Like, I don't know what's going on with the man.
Yeah, maybe he got like an undisclosed injury and nobody knew about it or something. I don't know. So, yeah, we'll try and dig around and see what we can find.
I don't know. All I know is Oka was a really big deal when they signed him initially. A really big deal. So, I mean, I'd be surprised if they didn't have future plans for him or whatever. But who knows, man? I don't know. We haven't heard anything.
Yeah, so we'll see. Next question comes from Ricky from the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show right here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Ricky says, could/will Okada one day replace Inoki as the biggest star in NJPW history?
No.
Never.
Nobody can replace Inoki as the biggest star. Wrestling in general is not big enough to do that anymore. That would be like being let me put it to you this way, because Ricky, I know you're a big, WWE mark. That'd be like, could Roman Reigns replace Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold Steve Austin as the biggest star in WWE history?
No.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
Because the company is nowhere near the level, not just the company. Well, actually, it's weird because the company, it's similar on both sides. Like, in some ways, the company is more financially stable, more viable, in the terms of business. But in terms of visibility, general visibility to like the general populace. If you go to Japan, you say the word Inoki, everyone is going to know who you're talking about. He's a cultural icon, like a worldwide cultural icon over there. You mentioned Okada. There's going to be people who know who he is. The same way how some people know who John Cena is. Mm-hmm. But the general population, it's not really, like in America, we don't really all know who John Cena is. Like, and most people that do, it's like
from acting or like funny like videos and stuff. It's not because they watch wrestling. Right.
It's kind of like that with Okada.
Would you say Tanahashi would actually be a closer second?
No, there's nobody.
No, not as a top star, but Tanahashi is like one of the second biggest stars, and just from saving the company from the Dark Ages.
No, because he came from an era that's not as popular, and the importance in the minds and the eyes of the general population. I don't live in Japan, so I'm not the authority on this, but I mean, like, you compare him to a Riki Choshu, no, or like Chono, no, or Muto, no, they're nowhere near as popular, and they never will be, and they can't be. It's like, once people know it's a work and it's like revealed to how much of it is a work, it's an uphill battle to make wrestling mainstream, and wrestling's not mainstream. So it's like almost impossible. Now you can do it. You can do what WWE's tried to do with John Cena, and in the kayfabe, in the canon, you can call him the Babe Ruth. Just like they're trying to make John Cena the Babe Ruth. But he'll never be like Bruno. As great as John Cena was, and as like on top of the company he was, he's never drawn like Hulk Hogan did. He can't. It's impossible. So no one's ever gonna do what Inoki did ever again. Like, it's not possible.
Inoki Bombaye.
It's like, when you talk about the history of Puroresu over there, there's only a few names that are on that. Like, you got Ricky Dozen, you got Giant Baba, and you got Inoki, and no one is near that level, like nowhere near that level. So unfortunately, no, it's not possible.
Gotcha. All right, next question from Nicholas Guerrero. He says, do you think NJPW will make any adjustments in the near future if AEW succeeds on TV and WWE draws better on a new channel to be more competitive?
Is WWE going to a new channel?
SmackDown is moving to
that's right.
Fox Sports in October.
That might be a bad move for them, actually. They're gonna have to draw some big numbers to like make that a viable thing for them. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Well,
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, New Japan's not really competing.
There was that whole thing where they made an adjustment pretty recently.
Were you talking about the Fighting Spirit tour?
No, the Michael Craven thing.
Oh yeah.
So they're making some adjustments.
But I don't think, as far as like a TV perspective, though, I mean, they have the Access show, but New Japan's not really competing on. Maybe on. They're not really competing with AEW and WWE on that front. So I don't think, as far as like a TV kind of thing, that we're making any adjustments. I mean, obviously we've seen with Fighting Spirit Unleashed, first kind of New Japan tour without any Ring of Honor involvement. I think we're seeing, actually, we got 2 more shows also in November for New Japan, solo shows. So we're seeing them do more US-based tours on their own. So I think that's been kind of a big adjustment. But I don't think we're going to see anything TV-wise because of the the TV stuff with AEW and WWE.
Yeah, and it is a different business model altogether because, WWE and AEW as well are going to be primarily television content creating companies. You know what I mean? They definitely live tour, but that's not the majority of their business in the States. Whereas New Japan, a lot of what their goal and aim is to do that. Yeah, they've got a TV deal, but their TV deal isn't live sport viewing the same way that WWE and AEW is going to be. I mean, that's something I guess they could look into if they're really trying to go that way. But I mean, I don't know. That's a tall task to accomplish. And we talked about it so many times in the show that like they've got a whole market in Japan that they still haven't even conquered. So.
Yeah. So next question from Reddit user Jinsane G1. He says 1 duck-sized Minoru Suzuki versus 50 Minoru Suzuki-sized ducks. Who wins?
The world explodes. I don't think the world could handle that.
I mean, I would think that the 50 duck-sized Minoru Suzukis would win, right?
Wait.
So it's 1 duck-sized Minoru Suzuki versus 50 Minoru Suzuki-sized ducks.
Oh, gotcha. That's confusing.
So you got 1 duck who is the size of Minoru Suzuki.
Oh, no. The 1 duck-sized Minoru Suzuki is going to fuck up those 50 ducks. It doesn't matter how big they are. They're not Minoru Suzuki.
That's true.
1 tiny Minoru Suzuki would literally murder. He would murder those giant ducks. In fact, if the world ever faced 50 giant man-sized ducks, our only hope would be to call upon a duck-sized Minoru Suzuki to save us. So yeah, that's my answer. Easy.
Next question comes from Reddit user Life is a Dragon. As you chaps may have heard, the editor of the Super J-Cast was reportedly accosted by an angry Michael Craven during Royal Quest last week. Are you worried that the apparent lack of NJPW executive publicly beefing with your podcast means that y'all aren't the New Japan podcast Shiaku anymore?
What?
So
what happened?
So last week on the Super J-Cast, they had editor Dan, who edits the Super J-Cast.
Right.
He was at Royal Quest Live, and he had a run-in with Michael Craven, and I guess Dan told him, "Oh yeah, I edited the Super J-Cast," and Michael Craven was like, essentially like, I hate those guys. I heard what they were been saying about me on their podcast, and blah 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 blah. They had
was the stuff that was their report true or not?
What about?
About like the change with Michael Craven's position and everything like that. Was that not accurate?
Well, not only
what he was upset about.
No, this past stuff they've reported to about the whole like the Kevin, like the commentary stuff and some other stuff that we've talked about that's been kind of noted with him with his decisions, and so he's asking that. I didn't know about that. That's pretty funny. So he's worried that the fact that we don't have executives coming after us means that we're not the Shiaku anymore. Yeah.
Well, all right, let me just say this.
Oh, boy.
Okay, here's what I'll say. And this is just the honest truth. I love Joel. I love Damon. Those are our friends. I think they're great. The reality is, us doing this show was somewhat influenced by Purocast even existing. But I think it was more so, it wasn't because we were trying to copy them. It's more so like, hey, look, there's just these guys and like nobody else. We should definitely be doing this. You know what I mean? Like there's a wide open market. Since that time, there've been like 1,050 New Japan podcasts, although they all seem to kind of just go.
Faded away, yeah.
We're like 93 episodes into this thing, so we've been around for a while. If you want to go by numbers, Super J-Cast definitely has the numbers. They're on a bigger network. They have been doing it for a lot longer, and all respect to them. But if you want my honest opinion, and I'm sure they'd say the same thing. They would definitely say the same thing. I've heard them say it. Our show's the best New Japan podcast out there. Period. They wouldn't agree, and that's fine. And I wouldn't expect them to.
Right. I mean, obviously, we're both going to be biased with our own shows.
We're very biased. And I listen to their show. I listen almost every week. I don't know. I think I listened to the show last week. I don't know. I've had a hectic week at work, and that's usually when I listen to podcasts. But I, generally speaking, listen every single week. And I think that they offer a lot that are different from us. if you want to just talk about pure numbers, they're way bigger than us. But if you want to talk about pure content,
and a week to week,
like product, I think that we absolutely have the single best New Japan based podcast on the entire internet. And I mean, there are definitely people who don't agree with us.
Right, dude. There are people who hate our show.
They hate our show.
There are people who hate the Super J Cast show.
Yeah, we've had people, and I'm just like, hey, whatever. But
and again, guys, we are friends with Damon and Joel. We've hung out with them in New York. We hung out with Damon in Texas during G1 weekend. There's no heat. There's no beef.
There's a little bit of heat because he beat me in all those arcade games. But I had a lot of ciders that day. I was,
but yeah, I mean, we love those guys, and there's room in the marketplace for more than one New Japan podcast, and I listen to their show every week.
But I think our show's the best. That's basically. I'm saying all that just to say this. I do think our show is the best. Period.
There's a reason why we call this show the Ace.
We're the Ace of
podcasts. We are the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
The 1 in 100 podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man. So last question comes from Muzza. He says, with everyone seeming to think that they're going to do a double title match where the IC and heavyweight title might get unified at both nights of the Dome, do you feel doing this would devalue Ibushi's G1 win and possible devalue either heavyweight or IC belt with a possible one-day title reign due to setting up a double title match?
It's possible. You know what else is possible?
What?
They could do it perfectly and everything could be fine. That's always a possibility.
Yeah.
That's how most things are in life, Muzza. Let's just get a little philosophical here. Things could go really bad. Things could go really right. It really just depends on your outlook and how you do things. And I think that if New Japan books it properly with the right talents and the right guys and the right writing and the right booking, this could be fantastic. It could also suck. I'm not saying anything super profound here. I think we all know that. I think sometimes people ask questions like this because they're trying to project a particular way of thinking about how they think it might go. Mm-hmm. And my outlook is could it suck? It could, but what if it's not? What if it's freaking awesome?
Yeah, I mean, with Gato's track record, I mean, we don't have any reason to doubt this not being awesome. Once again, obviously there has been more promos, especially with Jay White talking about wanting to win both belts. So there does seem to be some smoke to the fire of a possible.
I want the smoke.
Double title match coming Wrestle Kingdom January 4th and 5th. But once again, it's not official yet, so don't put all your eggs in the basket just quite yet. But if it does happen, I do think they'll do it right. And, I would see Okada retaining on night 1 and going into night 2 as a champion.
Here's a couple things. The reality, in my opinion, the G1 should not necessarily. I like the fact that the G1 winner gets a title shot. But we've said it before. That's not what the G1 was always about. That's not the point. That's secondary. The point is winning the G1 means you're the best wrestler in the world because you won the freaking G1, the most prestigious wrestling tournament in the entire world. And not only did he win the tournament, he beat the champion en route to winning the tournament. So how could it devalue his G1? He already did it. Yeah. He already won it. You can't devalue it at this point. He has it. You can't take it away. You can't buy it back. It's his. And not only that, but if they fulfill the terms of the stipulations and he gets a world title shot, whoever said he had to win? Also, who says he's not going to win? What if he wins on night 1 and then defends the title on night 2?
And wins.
And so these are all different outcomes that could happen. I think in the minds of almost everybody who sees this thing, they kind of are just all right, well, this is going to be a way to shoehorn Naito and Okada to eventually wind up in a final against one another, which probably would be true.
Right.
It's not necessarily
There's also
true.
been a story with Ibushi and Naito. What if they do Ibushi and Naito on the second night?
Yeah. We also don't know what they're going to do with the heavyweight or IC belt post Wrestle Kingdom, if they even decide to do something like this. You know what I mean? So, however they handle that also could be very telling as to, but I can't see how it could devalue either title if you're putting them both on a higher pedestal and unifying them. That usually, in my mind, elevates the perceived importance of those belts. So I think that this could be a really good thing. I could see how it could be bad. I do. I just have a lot of faith in New Japan, and I have a lot of faith in Gato, and I have a lot of faith in the talent that's there.
Yeah, I mean, all faith in Gato. I'm sure everything's going to be great at the end of January 5th. So, all right, now we're going to jump into the news. So we had news breaking that there's going to be another New Japan Showdown show to follow the November 9th San Jose event. There's going to be a New Japan Showdown in LA in the Globe Theater on Monday, November 11th. So once again, another show for New Japan in the U.S.
Awesome.
Following the San Jose show. We had news about the Royal Quest attendance. Drew a near sellout crowd with 6,119 paid. And that stat comes from this past week's Wrestling Observer newsletter. We also had an update on Kenta. It said Kenta went to the hospital, but he checked out okay. While he appeared knocked out, they ruled that he didn't have a concussion and he will be missing no dates.
Listen, I don't know about that. They can say that all they want, but I seen that man get concussed. I saw it with my eyes.
I think we all saw.
I saw him slipping like off ropes.
Bumbling.
I saw him doing babyface. Too sweet. He was too sweeting all the fans on his way out and smiling. He was doing a babyface exit. Like that man was freaking out of it. I don't care what they say. You can tell me all day. You can tell me he didn't have a concussion. I saw the concussion form in his head. I saw it with my eyes.
Yeah. So then also Kevin Kelly tweeted out last week that he was going to be in the studio all week doing commentary for the Road to Destruction shows as well as the Super J Cup.
What's the point? What's the point? Why? Do you guys even... Hey, listen. Anyone who's listening, just tweet us after this. Do you even want us to cover the Super J Cup? It's been like a month. Do you even want to... Should we even be talking about this when they come out? Like, what do you want us to do?
Yeah, and we kind of briefly talked about this weekend. It's like, what do we do with the coverage on this? I mean, there's a lot of great matches, just based on
allegedly. We don't even know. It happened so long ago.
Based on live reviews that there probably could be some candidates for Junior Match of the Year. It could help build a case for certain people for Junior of the Year. So, I mean, we're definitely going to watch these matches, but I don't know if we're going to give you guys a full review or breakdown on the air of these matches.
I'll just say this. I think that the non-airing of the Super J Cup in short order after it happened is one of the biggest blunders and biggest missteps New Japan has had all year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you have a show, a tournament that has a history.
It's supposed to be a really important tournament.
Right, and you've been building it, and it has storyline implications moving forward. I mean...
Bro, we previewed it.
Yeah.
Do you know how dumb that sounds? We previewed it. We still haven't even seen them. That was a long time ago.
And it's like, if you're trying to avoid spoilers, like, I don't know how you're doing it. You have to miss Royal Quest. You have to miss all these Destruction shows.
I kind of missed the spoilers. I just happen to know who won.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how they all got there, I guess, for the most part, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, eventually those will be up on New Japan World.
It's going to be in September, guys. They said, oh, it'll be in September.
Yeah, and let me just pull up New Japan World right now just to make sure that they haven't uploaded anything while we were recording. And, yeah, it looks like still nothing from them.
Oh, by the way, so this past weekend, apparently there's a New Japan World. I don't know exactly what kind of TV I was on, but I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and they have a New Japan World app on their actual television, which I've never seen that before. I thought you always had to like stream it.
Well, isn't there? Well, don't you have the app on your Roku thing or no? Your Google, your Chromecast or?
Yeah, I'm casting from my device to the Chromecast. Let me just tell you this. This app freaking sucks. It is so bad, bro. It is impossible to find anything. It looks great, and it looks just like the New Japan World app that we have until you try to actually search stuff. I was like kind of embarrassed. I was like, oh, I can't like find anything.
Yeah.
Unless you're watching something that happened like that week that's on the front page, you literally can't find anything. It's awful.
The free match of the week that's on New Japan World right now is the IWGP Intercontinental title match with Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. from September 16th, 2017.
Jeez.
So these guys have been going at it for a long time now. An interesting note that came up on Reddit, there's an infographic with Young Lions and their pre-excursion matches, and currently Shota Umino has over 300 pre-excursion matches, more than any other recent dojo graduate.
The shooter, baby.
Yeah, so
shooter.
Clearly big things are planned for the shooter.
Yep. What is this? New Japan and Daiso teaming up in the U.S.
Yeah, so New Japan is partnering up with Daiso. We were actually at that New Japan Matsuri in New York where Daiso was partnering with them. So they'll be partnering with them during the New York stop in the Fighting Spirit Unleashed. There's going to be a meet and greet with Tanahashi and Tiger Hattori and kind of some stuff because there is a Daiso shop in New York.
What is Daiso?
Remember that was that Japanese shop where they had like the kind of like the home essentials kind of stuff. Remember Toriano was out there with like the Daiso products when we were at the Matsuri?
No, I left.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I had to go watch Minoru Suzuki and Josh Barnett fight each other in Jersey City. So no, I did not see that.
Gotcha. But yeah, so Daiso is like this store in Japan. I'm kind of trying to find the best way to explain it, but they have
you actually did a great job explaining it. I just wasn't familiar. I was like, what is this? Okay, cool. So they're doing like a meet and greet at one of those stores in New York.
Yeah.
September 26th.
Yeah, from 3 to 4. There's a schedule, so there'll be Tanahashi talking, then Tiger Hattori, and then there'll be a 3-shot photo session with Tiger Hattori and Hiroshi Tanahashi, and the talk sessions are open all to view. So,
dude, if I was in New York, I would be all, bro. You know how much I love Tanahashi.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I think it's going to be similar to the Matsuri that happened in New York during
dope.
During the WrestleMania weekend. So should be a similar format to that. We had an interview on NJPW 1972 with Shibata, talking about the LA Dojo and assessing the LA Young Lions.
They're about to make me look like an idiot.
Why?
Because I keep coming on this podcast being like, Shibata's never wrestling again. And I'm feeling like I'm about to be really wrong.
We'll see. Speaking of the LA Dojo, there are LA Dojo tryouts taking place on September 30th. So if you go to njpw1972.com, it has all the information about the tryout and how to apply for that. There was also an interview on the site with New Japan's Dojo's Young Lions, speaking out about the Young Lions Cup. Also, we had NJPW CEO Harold George May featured on the new series by Tokyo Metropolitan Government.
Yeah, I saw that.
So there's a video on that. Didn't get a chance to watch it, but I saw that.
I saw it was great. It's important.
Big news with Big Money May there.
Big Money May.
So in other news, very kind of serious situation that's been kind of been the talk of all of wrestling Twitter this weekend. So there was an incident during the Summer Sizzler with a Rev Pro referee. And of course, we had a question here from Reddit user ABlue3. Have you seen the Josh Bodum situation? His shoulders were down for 3. And then he beat up the ref. Now the ref is retiring and Bodum is fired from Rev Pro.
What?
Yeah, so...
Okay, so I don't know what happened. I know that you guys kept talking about like how there was a lot of issues on the Summer Sizzler show. Was this during the main event?
No, this was during the tournament match with Aussie Open.
Okay, yeah, because you guys had said that there's issues during the main event on that show as well, that like people were upset.
Right, that was the Ospreay David Starr match.
Yeah, and people were freaking out. So this is another issue during that same
right,
tour?
and like I kind of heard a little bit about it going into Royal Quest, but more details have come out afterward. I'm going to read.
Does it work?
Does not seem like a work. So this is from...
Everything in wrestling to me seems like a work.
This is from F4W Online from their daily update yesterday. It says there was a big controversy in last week's Rev Pro wrestling show at York Hall during Aussie Open versus Josh Bodum and Shaw Samuels. Referee Aaron Wild eventually ended the match early, saying a few days later the post-match attack on him was a shoot. He said he was slammed by Samuels and the rest was a blur. Rev Pro released a statement on Sunday that they had not heard from Wilde during the week, nor knew of any of the allegations before he went on Twitter to discuss it. They did not respond until Sunday because they said they were gathering all the facts. After speaking to everyone, they said that Samuels made a horrible error of judgment, but did his best to protect the referee. They said that they are confident he knows what he did wrong, and under no circumstances is he allowed to touch a non-wrestler without consent. He will be disciplined, and they will have a zero-tolerance policy regarding any future incidents. However, we are confident, given his track record, he will respond to this in the most positive manner possible.
That don't sound like he's fired.
Well, that's Samuels. Regarding Bodum, he was fighting with pretty much shoots.
Oh yeah, I'm getting them confused. Okay, yeah.
So Bodum there's a video going around Twitter of Bodum kind of striking the referee after the match. So regarding Bodum, Rev Pro said his actions did not match his recollections of events, and they have no option but to cut ties with him.
Wow.
They said they hope Bodum will be able to learn and grow from this. The two have been stripped of the British tag team titles immediately. They said that not being aware of this for several days made them realize incident report policy specific to performers. A simple form can be filled out and emailed to management if there are any concerns or any official complaints, something they feel will be better in dealing with these types of things in a more timely fashion. The company also said they are publicly apologizing to Wilde and said that if he can't referee going forward, they hope to continue to work with him in other areas of business if he wants to keep working with them.
Well, in my opinion, I'm just jumping into this. I don't know much about it, and I don't want to speak I'm not a worker. I don't have a lot of experience working in the wrestling industry, so I don't even want to speculate and say what did or didn't happen, especially from a foreign company. Like, I have no clue. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'll say this. The way that entire press release that you just, listed to me comes off super professional sounding. Like, it sounds like... Now, I don't know if what they're saying is true. I'm very skeptical, and I don't know if that's how it all happened or whatever. But I can only take them at face value, basically, at this point, based on what they're saying. And if the long and short of it is that they're doing an investigation, they're inviting the one guy to, the referee to continue to work with them, they're firing the wrestler. That's probably the outcome that needs to happen. Now, I don't know if there's something that they could have done differently.
Right.
And I think that's probably what everyone is wondering.
Well, another thing, too, there's been screenshots going around on Twitter of a message between Andy Qualden, who's the owner of Rev Pro, and Josh Bodum. And the message says, "Hey, Josh, this ref is kicking up a shitstorm on Twitter. I have your back on it. Don't worry."
Oh, that's not a good look. That's not a good look.
You're right. And then there was a Instagram Q&A that Josh Bodum did, and somebody asked, "Have you been fired from Rev Pro?" He said, "Nah, bro, I quit pro wrestling."
Josh Bodum said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
that's really convenient sounding.
Yeah, and then the video, I've seen the video a lot today of the strikes that Bodum was doing on the referee, and then the referee came out on Twitter before all this stuff came out saying that he can no longer referee at the time being because of the injuries that he obtained during this post-match attack.
Well, what I was saying was I wasn't congratulating Rev Pro, but I was saying as far as a company, whether they were in the right or the wrong, they were doing from a PR standpoint as good a job as they possibly could given the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they actually handled it correctly. I have no clue if they handled it correctly or not. But what they were saying verbally or in written form is probably what you'd hope a company would say. And you'd hope that they stand by that and actually had these protocols and yada yada. But you never know what the culture of a wrestling company is really like, or in any industry. There's lots of places where they're like, well, we have simple forms you could fill out and do this or that, but you don't. I mean, for instance, exactly what you just shared. Someone be like, yo, this guy's kicking up a shitstorm. It's well, what if they don't really want? They have policies in place, but they don't really want you to actually follow those policies. You know what I mean? It's more just a make good or whatever. So I don't know. That's really interesting, though. I'm not a huge. I don't watch a lot of Rip Pro.
Yeah, neither do I.
I know Josh Bodum. I know like his name, but I haven't seen a lot from him. But I'll say this: like, you shouldn't be shooting on anybody.
Period. Yeah.
Period. Unless they really deserve it.
Unless they shoot on you first.
Yeah. But that's really bad. I didn't know I haven't heard anything about this till this moment.
Yeah, it's been all over. I know you're not really on Twitter, but yeah, wrestling Twitter has been talking about it a lot lately. A lot of wrestlers and referees weighing in, and we're friends with several referees here in the Florida area and wrestlers too.
Were they saying stuff too?
Yeah, some of those guys were kind of weighing in and talking about the situation. So,
did they say he deserved it?
Who that Bodum?
Referee?
Oh no. So, but yeah, I definitely think they did make the right call with firing Bodum, stripping them of the tag titles, and
what did the referee do wrong?
So apparently, at the finish, so Aussie Open won, and that was the right call, but I guess it ended earlier than it was supposed to. Bodum failed to get his shoulders up, I guess, on one spot of the match, and so the match ended up ending.
How's that the referee's fault?
It's not.
Yo, dude, you're a pro wrestler. Get your shoulders up, dog.
Yeah.
I know my buddy here, Jeremy Donovan, wouldn't let his shoulders be down for 3 seconds.
Dude, I don't even sleep on my back, yo. But yeah, and the tweets that the referee put out, he was saying, the match ended 5 minutes early on a show that ran 45 minutes longer than it was supposed to. So, yeah.
I just wish, here's my thing. If you make a mistake, we all make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Just own up to your crap, okay? You don't have to beat somebody up because you made a mistake.
Right. You know what? If you want to argue with the referee in character to, keep heat on yourselves and be heels.
Bro, you know what? Handle it backstage. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you don't shoot on the guy in front of everybody or whatever. Like, whatever. I don't know, man. Who knows? This world's crazy.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there moving forward with Rev Pro.
And then finally, we've got maybe the biggest news of the week.
Yeah, this broke today. Impact Wrestling's parent company acquires majority interest in Access TV. So Impact Wrestling's parent company, which is Anthem Sports and Entertainment, they have finalized a deal that expects to lead to be the new television home for Impact. In a press release that was issued today, it was announced that Anthem Sports Entertainment has acquired a majority interest in HD Net LLC, which is the parent of Access TV and HD Net Movies. And for those of you who know, New Japan Pro Wrestling and Women of Wrestling both air on Access TV on Saturdays.
I don't really know what to think here. This seemed like a deal that fell apart.
Right. So Voices of Wrestling, they kind of broke this story in June about this deal happening, and we talked about it here on this show. And Impact was supposed to, I believe it was after Slammiversary, they're supposed to be, they had no shows booked because they thought that they were going to be switching over to Access TV, and then the deal wasn't happening, so they had to do quick tapings to do some more stuff on Pursuit. So yeah, it seemed like this deal had kind of fallen through the cracks, but I guess they were continuing to work things out, and now the deal is finalized.
Well, I mean, we don't have to belabor the fact. There's issues between Impact and New Japan, and a lot of that has to do with Okada. A lot of that has to do with a lot of bad history between the two. Obviously, they used to have a partnership, but what this means going forward, I really don't know. I mean, Access TV's been a fantastic partner for New Japan in their growing U.S. expansion over the past 2 to 3 years. And, obviously this is great for Impact.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be the best TV move for Impact since they moved from Fox Sports Net to Spike TV.
Yeah.
So they're going to get in way more homes.
You didn't like when they moved to Destination America?
No.
You didn't like when they moved to Pop TV?
No. I honestly, I didn't watch Impact through any of those channels. Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is a good move for them. I would hope, in my perfect world, New Japan gets to have their own show, Impact gets to have their own show, and that's it.
Right. And Mark Cuban,
that might not be what happens.
Well, Mark Cuban's kind of been one of the main guys going to bat for New Japan and having it on the network. And
he's the owner.
Yeah, and so in the press release, it stated that Mark Cuban and AEG will continue to participate as equity partners, and AEG Global Partnerships, AEG's advertising and sponsorship sales unit, will continue to support the channels in conjunction with Anthem's sales team. So Cuban will still have some play there. So I think, he's been fighting for New Japan all this time. I think he will continue to.
Well, here's the thing. We know for a fact that the numbers that New Japan are doing on that channel, they kill everything else. They're way higher than their concerts. They're way higher than the HD Net fights. They're way higher than the Women of Wrestling. It's their biggest drawing show on the network for sure.
Yeah.
If I'm Anthem and I'm gonna be bringing Impact onto the network, I put them on the same night as New Japan. I hope to ride that wave. I wouldn't be so foolhardy to think that, it's just wrestling, so I get rid of the most popular show you have and replace it with something else. That would be a bad look, but you know what? You could probably piggyback and actually gain a lot more viewers if you work together in conjunction. I'm not saying have a partnership. I'm not saying do crossovers. I'm just saying that Access TV has a long history of having multiple fight promotions on the same night, and it seems like they've started to do that with Women of Wrestling and New Japan.
Right.
I don't see any reason why on a Friday night they can't also have Anthem or have Impact as well. That makes a lot of sense to me. The only thing is, my one big concern is if let's say they do that, how much support is Access going to be putting behind New Japan moving forward with their U.S. shows and their big efforts, because they seem to be really behind them. They might continue to let them broadcast, but I don't know how much support they're going to be getting if Anthem's the controlling shareholder. Also, I don't know if New Japan, they seem kind of salty and almost a little bit petty to Impact with some of this stuff, and I don't know if they want to keep working with them after this. This might be like the death knell. I always hoped that with Don Callis's involvement with Anthem, that would kind of bridge the gap, but it hasn't seemed to be so far.
Yeah. We have some sources over at Access TV, so maybe we can kind of reach out and see what...
We might not anymore.
Yeah, well, we can reach out now. And
we do, but yeah.
We can reach out and kind of see if they know anything on what's happening with the New Japan partnership.
Yeah, for sure.
And another interesting thing about this story, Steve Harvey... Yes, comedian Steve Harvey is joining Anthem as an investor and is entering in an agreement for content development and promotion of Anthem's portfolio. So
we might get Steve Harvey at Wrestle Kingdom.
Maybe Bound for Glory first, but maybe Steve Harvey will be the new GM of Impact.
Nice.
I don't know, but I thought that was a very interesting name to see kind of pop up there. So that wraps up for the news. And before we head out, the recommended match of the week. Young boy, you're up for the recommended match.
Okay, guys, I've got the recommended match of the week for you. It's one you're not going to want to miss. And it's one that we've said on this show many, many times, but the time is now. If you haven't seen this, and I bet a bunch of you haven't, you have to go out and watch this match because it is a freaking banger. Lions Project 10, 2017,
yes.
December, Yagi versus fucking Narita, the first match of the night, 15-minute draw. It is the greatest Young Lions match I've ever seen in my life. To this point, still easily over 4 stars. Easily one of the most violent New Japan matches I've ever seen. You have to go see this match.
Yes, it's on New Japan World. There's no excuse. Freaking Yagi versus Narita was amazing. It was fire.
And it's easily the best match of the last Young Lions Cup tournament, by far.
Yes, dude. I still remember that drop kick.
Bro, that drop kick.
We were watching it at the Dojo 1. And, yeah, man.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Yagi versus Narita, take 15 minutes out of your life and better yourself. Invest in yourself.
Make yourself a better person.
Make yourself a better person. Go out there and be somebody. God. Watch Yagi versus Narita from 2017. And then after that, watch the second match. They only had 2 of them. That one's a banger too.
Yeah, it was. Dude. Why'd you have to leave, Yagi? Oh man,
That's gonna do it. That's my recommended match of the week.
Nice. Well, that's
Also, before we go, I just want you guys to know I'm feeling so crappy, but I feel a little bit better doing this show. So thank you guys.
boom, a little bit of keeping a strong style to make you better. So we'll be back next week. We'll be back with reviews of Destruction in Beppu and Destructions in Kagoshima. Make sure you connect with us on social media. On Twitter, I'm at Jeremy L. Donovan. The show is at KI Strong Style. You can also follow us at Social Suplex. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/Social Suplex. You can also find us in the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Wrestling Squared Circle. On Reddit, I am the Pro Black Guy. Josh is Keeping It Strong Style. You can email me, jeremy@socialsuplex.com. You can check out all the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. On Sundays, we have One Nation Radio, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. On Wednesdays, we have Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show from Scotland. Every other Wednesday, we have our podcast dedicated to independent wrestling, Grown Men Watch This Shit, hosted by Jeremy Tate and Chris Bryan. On Fridays, we have Get in the Ring with Danny and Beast Mike. And on Saturday, we have All Things Elite with Floyd Johnson Jr., Amy O, and All Elite Tiffany. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review. We will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.